morning, everyone. The February 21st, 2024 meeting of the City Council is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on CLV Cable Channel 2. You may also watch the meeting live on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Go Vegas app. The City Council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 5 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler systems. If alarms should activate during our meeting, please evacuate using the exits at the back of the chambers. Go out to the mezzanine, proceed out the double doors to the terrace, go down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with a marshal or fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewis and First Streets. Employees wearing safety vests or city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related to items on the agenda, citizen participation, and public hearing items, we have available a speaker card which you may complete and submit to the city clerk. Cards are available in the clerk's office at the rear of these chambers, but if you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If anyone's present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please see our city clerk staff up front. Please note, if you parked in the parking garage across the street, a self-validation machine is located in the foyer between council chambers and the security desk you walk through to enter our chambers. You must have your ticket with you to use the machine. However, if you do not, please see security personnel when exiting for a validation coupon. Before we proceed with the rest of our agenda, would everyone please rise for the invocation given this morning by Pastor Ann Jones, Life Christian Center, and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, and thank you for coming.
Good morning. We start today by saying thank you. We're thankful for this beautiful, amazing day. Thanking you for love, peace, joy, and happiness upon this beautiful city, all mankind. We ask for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and we pray the blessings upon this city, every citizen, every family. Today, we're grateful for the opportunity to be in this beautiful, awesome, amazing day. Thank you, and we end by saying amen.
And now it is time for our ceremonial, so we will be coming on down.
I know. We should stand together. Yes, the same person that's always missing.
We always have an errant wanderer. However, I think it might be business, so Councilman, are you around here? Okay, off we go. This is such a special time and a special day always for us to have city council days. because we are a family of people who really appreciate everything that goes on in our community. And so this being our ceremonial portion of City Council, our first item, I want to invite our Chief Financial Officer, Gary Ameling, to join us at the podium. There he is. What a wonderful man. How are you? Come right on up, and good morning. Always smiling. Our employees strive to meet our values of being kind, committed, and smart, and they work to build our community to make life better for us all. I'm proud to announce that the Employee of the Month is Consuelo Mendoza. Consuelo, please join us. Not too popular, huh? Wonderful. Consuelo is a senior call center specialist with our customer care center, and she's been with the city since 2013. Our customer care center is a one-stop shop operated by living human beings, not a digitally operated system that pushes one for this or push two for that. The Customer Care Center helps callers with live answers to questions they might have, and doing so and providing continuing excellent customer service, a service about which we pride ourselves. This beautiful lady, Consuelo, has had citizens looking to resolve parking tickets at the Customer Care Center. But knowing parking tickets are handled at our parking service office nearby, oftentimes, instead of directing the individual to the other offices, she has worked with the parking services directly and resolved issues for our citizens. The Customer Care Center was in its infancy when it became a payment hub also for the city of Las Vegas. Consuelo almost makes paying bills fun and has innovated the payment processes with our finance department and was able to streamline many of the cashier processes and procedures. So, Consuelo, thank you for all that you do to make our community happy and better. And before we hear from this wonderful woman, I, of course, will turn this over to Gary Ameling, the boss.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and it's my pleasure to be here today. I also have the pleasure of overseeing the Office of Strategic Services, of which the Customer Care Center is a reporting part of. And so one of the great things about the Employee of the Month program is that the nominations come in from employees at all levels of our organization, and this particular nomination came in from one of Consuelo's coworkers, so that's really great, and I encourage all employees to look out for great behaviors and great employees and to make those nominations so that we can welcome them and hopefully have them join up with our city here. In addition to the great customer service and innovation that you gave examples of, Consuelo is also known by her coworkers for her initiative, her teamwork, and her leadership. So congratulations, Consuelo. It's great to have you on our team.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mayor Goodman and Council. I just want to say that I'm very grateful for this recognition. It really means a lot to me to be recognized on such things as my leadership, teamwork, and customer service. I believe that they all intertwine, and that if you show good leadership, then the rest is easier to achieve. These are some of the skills that I have been working on in the past couple of years, so it's good to know that I'm moving in the right direction. I think that building strong relationships with my coworkers is a fundamental to the work environment. You build those connections by having people not as followers, but as a team that will stand beside you and walk with you. Not because they have to, but they do so willingly, because you have taken the time to get to know them and have built those strong relationships. You encourage and motivate them, you respect them and you trust them, you teach them and they teach you. To me, leadership is not about one person knowing it all or making all the decisions. It's about knowing when to lead and when to be led. It's about being consistent and building a great team that can come together to work on a common goal. In my opinion, when we empower the people we work with and build strong relationships that are based on encouragement, mutual respect, open communication, consistency, and trust, we build teams that are motivated and willing to go the extra mile to provide exceptional customer service, not only for the team, but to our external customers as well. These qualities are, to me, what makes a great team. So that being said, I want to say thank you to my team, and a big thank you to Tommy for the nomination and the kind words. Thank you for all my coworkers, because in one way or another, you guys motivate me and push me to become better. We will continue to grow and learn together and encourage one another to reach our goals. Thank you.
Okay. How about a picture up front here? And how about customer care service? Please stand up. Come on, you're all part of it, and thank you. Thank you, and here it is the beautiful citation of being our Employee of the Month, and of course the sign will change at the corner of Clark and Main, so you can drive back and forth and back and forth. Let's come up here and have a picture taken, please. Okay. Okay, we have to go sideways, so you stay. Okay. Nicely said. It is wonderful. No, and Consuelo and our customer care service. I mean, you really are terrific. You make things happen so quickly rather than for those of us who live here and breathe here, spending 45 minutes just pushing numbers and never getting the right person. So congratulations, we're proud of you, and we look forward to the continuing successes of our customer care service. And for our final ceremonial, wow, this is also such a special item for us today. It's my honor to recognize our February 2024 Citizen of the Month. Today we have a true hero joining us, and I'd like to invite Clerk Michael Lasso to join us at the podium, please. Not only the face known round the country, but also Saturday Night Live star.
Oh, jeez.
Whoever would have thought, huh?
Oh, my, not
No,
me.
please go on through and say hi to everybody. You never know what life's going to bring you, do you?
Sure, no.
No, and I must say, you must work out a lot, do you?
Not as much as I should.
I think your judge is very thrilled that you're in good shape. In January, we all witnessed the shocking and horrifying footage of a defendant in the Clark County District Courtroom leaping wildly over to get at Judge Mary Kay Holthus. And we welcome you. We're so grateful as she was attacked. Michael Lasso, as Judge Holthus' law clerk, seated next to her with no thought for his own safety, as we've all seen, jumped into action, pulling the individual away from the judge, working to restrain him, and obviously helping law enforcement subdue him. As Michael turned to check on the condition of the judge, he saw that the attacker was still fighting wildly against the corrections officer who had come to restrain him. Of course, Michael again jumped into the fray. I can't wait to ask your father how you were as a child. When asked about well, I can ask Grandma too. I know she's here. When asked about and grandmas always tell the truth, not so much dads. When asked about the incident, Michael said that he feels like he was just doing what anyone would have done in that situation. No, that is what a remarkable and instantaneous reaction was, which only the rare individual would take. We commend you, Michael. And we hold you out as a model to the rest of us that we must never let hate, anger, uncontrolled force, and actions go without consequences. Michael, the city thanks you for your extraordinary courage and thanks you for the exemplary actions for defending citizens in Las Vegas. You are a shining example of the good people of our community. We are a community which relies on each other every day, all the time, and especially in crisis. So it is with great humbleness but honor for me to name you the City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month. And I want to present you, if you would, Mayor Pro Tem, if you would give it to Michael. And we're just so thrilled. I know you have to say something. It must have been just, wow. That's all I can say.
Well,
so
thank you so much. Seriously, thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Good
This is
days,
unbelievable.
I know you have to say something about it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone here, the mayor, my family, the judge, our marshal. Thank you, everyone, seriously.
You'll introduce who's here.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I have my grandmother is here. She's 93 years old. Thank you, Grandma, for being here. We also have my mom is here. We have my dad, my brother, my incredible, incredible girlfriend, and, of course, my cousin and his wife as well. So, the support is incredible. The judge is here as well. Mary Kay Holthus in the back there. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. When it all happened, it all happened so fast. 1 minute you're kind of just a clerk answering emails. The next minute your face is on Twitter and SNL and TikTok. It really is kind of just so surreal and crazy. You never kind of know when something happens like that, how the community is going to react. But Las Vegas is such a tight community, and the way that the support that they handed out, the helping hand, just the well wishes, the messages, it was just incredible. So I just want to say thank you all again. Thank you to the mayor, and this is just so surreal, so incredible. So thank you.
Well, we're just so thrilled. I look at our wonderful council members, and every day that they come in, they never know who's calling with what problem. There are always problems that we're trying to solve. But to see something happen so instantaneously, and thank you. You are one of the most respected judges we have. I can't thank you enough. And we are all hoping that you had no resounding after effects, but you picked the right law clerk, I have to say that. And Dad, I really I have to add, well, it really starts with Grandma. The gene pool is where it's at, that's for sure. And so was he of any trouble growing up, or did you see this hero from the beginning?
I would expect nothing more of him.
Wait, Dad, I'm taking the mic. Dad, tell us about your son.
Thank you, man. I would expect nothing more.
I know Dad's no.
No. I wasn't surprised at all, to be honest with you. That's the kind of young man he is, and I told him he's a hero, and he says no, he's not a hero, but we're very proud of him, and I'm not surprised at all that he acted the way he did, and I'm glad he did. That's the way we raised him, and I think his high school football helped with that too a little bit. Yes.
Or I figured you and he were wrestling or brother. I know what broken ribs can be, but that who takes over. So anyway, we do congratulate you, and of course, you will see your name right there on the corner, Clark and Main. And and I want to ask Her Honor, is his job secure?
Oh, thank God.
Good. Well, wonderful. Congratulations,
Thank
dude.
you so
Let's
much.
come up here and have a photo.
Did they get one with the judge?
Yes, but I didn't want to step out. Are you all right?
You all right taking a picture? One photo. You look good. Come on.
Ask our attorney if it's okay. And I want to thank your law enforcement. Boy, were you lucky to have them. You have incredible, very lucky. Yeah, you look wonderful. God bless. Okay. Can we all get in? Can you be seen?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Okay, we're take a 5-minute break here to get the computers working. How many minutes? 8 minutes. You know what I was thinking?
Was our friend speaking? Guy with the hat. What is this rapper? Huh? You mean batshit crazy? No, he's done some. It's on me because, I don't know. Michelle, that friend? Didn't hurt me. I just would never talk to him.
The thing about it gets me about this. What's your point? What is all this about?
Okay, you know what? I think he makes money because Rick really needs to stop talking.
Yeah, you remember that.
Because the law says you don't have to do your due diligence. We say that. We can't, but
Yeah, we can't, but.
Okay. All right, everyone, I think we're ready to reconvene. And we're on agenda item 7. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments will be cross-referenced to those specific items. If anyone submitted a speaker card who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium, state your name for the record. This is your opportunity to address the council, but council is not able to respond or engage in dialogue. We'll set the time at 1 minute, and please know at the end of our council meeting this morning, there will be another opportunity to speak where you could have more time. So, good morning.
Good morning, Mayor.
Could I know it's part of your gig, but could you please take your hat off in front of council? You look
Absolutely.
better without it.
You always say that. Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
Steve Sanderson, President of Veterans in Politics, and Jim Jonas, member of Veterans in Politics. We're here today to present a recognition to your Mayor Pro Temp, Brian Knudsen. Because Brian Knudsen, I don't know, he has done so much for a ward. He's very responsive. He's very humble. He's very kind. And he's very knowledgeable. I have nothing but good stuff to say about Councilman Knudsen. And come on, everybody.
Yeah, I want to follow up with exactly what Steve Sensen said. First off, I want to thank all city council members. I think this is the most important form of government, being responsive at the city level. And thank you, Brian, for always being responsive. He always returns phone calls. And when we ask him to do something, he jumps into action immediately. You are an example, sir, of exactly what a city council person should be. So thank you very much, Brian.
David.
How lovely. Do you want to make a comment back of thank you or something?
I don't like a lot of attention. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. And I will continue to respond. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. And Mayor, just know we're coming back for you in June.
Come anytime. All I can tell you is this says presented in appreciation to Las Vegas City Councilman Brian Knudsen, and you spelled it correctly. That's phenomenal. For your dedication and commitment to the constituents of Ward 1 on behalf of Veterans in Politics International. It's beautiful, and there are no fingerprints on it or anything.
None.
So, most deserved.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Council. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
That took more than a minute. Anyone else wishing to be heard, please come to the podium, give us your name for the record, and we will continue giving you a minute, unless you're not coming to the podium. Okay, no? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 8. For possible action on any items from the 9:30 session, council staff and/or applicant wish to be stricken, tabled, withdrawn, or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward, acted upon at this time. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have one item. It's item 55. It's 23-0467 VAR1, abeyance item. This is a public hearing. Applicant Maria Rodriguez, owner is Raul Gill and Maria Gill at 1201 South Commerce, and there's an abeyance requested by the applicant for the March 6, 2024 City Council meeting.
And there's
that will be my motion.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. And that motion on my monitor passes unanimously, so we'll move on to agenda item number 9. For possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the January 17th, 2024 regular City Council meeting. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
Move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. This motion to approve those minutes. Please vote and please post. And that carries. Beautiful. And Items 10 through 34, with the exception, no exceptions, on the consent agenda are considered to be routine or recommended for approval by their departments and may be enacted in one motion. Note that the record should reflect my abstention on items 12 and 13 as they pertain to medical marijuana, and one of my sons is involved in that industry. I'll be voting on all other items. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion on the consent agenda 10 through 34?
Madam Mayor, move to approve the consent agenda items number 10 through 34 with the noted abstentions on items 12 and 13.
There's a motion on the consent agenda. Please vote and please post. And that motion carries. Thank you. We're on to agenda item number 35. Boards and commissions, discussion for possible action regarding the reappointment of Tina Wichman to the Downtown Design Review Committee. Ms. Wichman was originally appointed in March of 2018, filling a seat designated for a business owner appointed by the mayor. She is eligible and wishes to continue to serve. I move to reappoint Madam Wichman, Tina Wichman. Please vote and please post. And congratulations and thank you very much. That carries unanimously. We'll move on to agenda item 36, discussion for possible action regarding the reappointment of Drushin Andy Armenian to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. Mr. Armenian fills the seat designated by the mayor's appointment, originally appointed to the board in 2008 by former Mayor Oscar Goodman. He has the recommendation of Parks and Recreation Director for reappointment, is eligible and wishes to continue to serve. I move to approve the reappointment. Would you please vote and post? And that carries. And we'll move on to agenda item 37, recommending committee bills eligible for adoption at this meeting. Bill number 2024-1. Councilman Knudsen, would you like to have the bill read?
Yes, Mayor. Bill number 2024-1, an ordinance to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe the land to be annexed to make its inhabitants subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city, and to provide for other related matters. 22-051X-Annex 1.
Move to approve.
Thank you. This motion to approve agenda item 37. Would you please vote and post, please? And that motion carries. Did it flash and I missed it? There it is. There it is. Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 38. Councilman Knudsen, would you like to have the bill read?
Yes, Mayor. Bill number 2024-2, an ordinance to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe the land to be annexed to make its inhabitants subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city, and to provide for other related matters. 22-0513-Annex 1.
Move to approve.
Thank you. This motion on agenda item 38. Please vote and please post. And that motion carries. We move on to agenda item 39, bill number 2024-3. Would you like the bill read, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you.
Bill number 2024-3, an ordinance creating the City of Las Vegas, Nevada Special Improvement District number 613, Sunstone, phases 3 and 4, ordering a street project, storm sewer project, sanitary sewer project, drainage project, and water project within the City of Las Vegas, Nevada, and providing other matters related thereto.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Motion to approve on agenda item 39. Please vote and please post. We got this down to a science. Thank you. And that motion carried. I saw it. It did anyway, so we'll move to agenda item 40. That's bill number 2024-4. Councilman Knudsen, would you like the bill read?
Yes, Mayor.
Please.
Bill number 2024-4, an ordinance concerning the City of Las Vegas, Nevada Special Improvement District number 613, Sunstone, phases 3 and 4, assessing the cost of local improvements against the assessable property benefited by the local improvements and providing other matters related thereto.
Move to approve.
Thank you. A motion to approve on agenda item 40. Please vote and please post. Your speed reading is excellent, Mr. Attorney. And I know, I watched that circle enough, you can get dizzy. There it is, unanimous. We'll move on to agenda item 41, bill number 224-5. Councilman Knudsen, your permission, please.
Please go forward, Mr. Orcutt.
Bill number 2024-5, an ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale by the city of its Special Improvement District number 613, phases 3 and 4, local improvement bonds series 2024, approving the form of certain documents with respect to such bonds, ratifying action taken by city officers toward the issuance of such bonds, and providing other matters related thereto.
Move to approve.
Thank you. This last one for approval, please vote and please post. And that carries unanimously. So quickly you got that one out, Madam Clerk. Wonderful. Agenda item 42 is recommending committee bills eligible for adoption at a later meeting. That's item number 42, bill number 2023. Is it 2023? Yes. -28 will be heard at a later meeting. So that's a last year bill. Okay, we'll move on to new bills. Agenda item 43. Items number 43 and 44, bills number 2024-6, 2024-7, will be heard at the recommending committee bill meeting Monday, March 4th, 2024. City Attorney, would you be kind enough to read the bills?
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 2024-6, an ordinance to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe land to be annexed to make its inhabitants subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city and to provide for other related matters, 23-0386-Annex 1. Bill number 2024-7, an ordinance to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe the land to be annexed to make its inhabitants subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city and to provide for other related matters, 23-0387-Annex 1.
Thank you very much. New bills 2024-06 and 07 are assigned to the March 4th, 2024 recommending committee members, Councilman Knudsen, and Councilwoman Seaman and Polensky. If any so designated or unable to attend, the clerk's office will coordinate finding substitutes as necessary at my direction, please. And we will move on to one motion, one vote. Items 46 through 53 may be considered one motion, one vote, as they are routine items with no condition changes. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or member of the council not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the applications recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this portion of the agenda. Item 45. 230479-SUP1, applicant Norm's Restaurant, LLC, owner Westland Fair, LP, on a land use entitlement project request for a proposed 5,727 square foot alcohol on-premise full use with 596 square foot patio area with a 66-foot distance separated from church, house of worship, and a 359-foot distance separation from a school individual care center where 400 feet is required, located in the south side of Charleston Boulevard, approximately 800 feet east of the intersection Charleston Boulevard, South Decatur, C1 Limited Commercial Zone, Ward 1, Councilman Knudsen. Number 46230552-SUP1, applicant Salfadin S. Baji, owner, 4631 WSM LLC, and a land use entitlement project request for a proposed 1,500 square foot alcohol off-premise use at 3900 North Rancho Drive, Suite 104, C2 General Commercial Zone, Ward 5, with Councilman Creer. 47 is 230567 GPA 1. Applicant City of Las Vegas, owner Southern Nevada Rental Holdings LLC, on a land use project request from TOD2 Transit Oriented Development Low to GC General Commercial on 0.14 acres south side of Milo Way, approximately 170 feet west of Wyandotte Street, Ward 3, with Councilwoman Diaz. Number 48230574, applicant owner Temporary Assistance for Domestic Crises, Inc., on the following land use entitlement project request on 1.25 acres of 5204 and 5238 Vegas Drive, Ward 5, with Councilman Creer, and 48A through D. 48A is 230574 GPA 1, General Plan Amendment from R Rural Density to O Office. 48B 230574 ZON1 from RE Residence Estates to O Office. 48C, 230574 VAR to allow 40% lot coverage where 30% is maximum allowed. 48D, 230574 SUP1 for an existing social service provider use. 40 and 49, 230581 applicant owner, City of Las Vegas, possible action following land use entitlement project requests on 1.13 acres northeast corner Utah Avenue, Casino Center Boulevard in Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. 49A 230581 ZON1 from R4 high density residential, C2 general commercial. Number 50, 230588 SUP1 applicant William P. Miguel Living Trust owner, the 1993 Miguel Family Trust et al. On land use entitlement project request for a proposed 26,917 square foot alcohol off-premise use in conjunction with the proposed grocery store with a waiver to allow 130-foot distance separation from an existing alcohol off-premise full use where 1,000 feet is required, 5831 West Craig Road, C1 Limited Commercial Zone, Ward 5, Councilman Creer. Number 51, 230591, applicant owner, Southern NV Rental Holdings LLC, on the following land use entitlement project requests on 18.67 acres southeast corner of Richfield Boulevard and Wilmington Way, Ward 3, Councilwoman Diaz. 51A through D, 230591 ZON1 from R1 single family residential to C2 general commercial. 230591 SPP1 proposed mixed use development. 230591 VAC1 petition to vacate public right of way. 230591 TMP1 revised Vegas Rising for a proposed two-lot commercial subdivision. Number 50 to 230592 DIR1 Directors Business Applicant Owner Southern NV Rental Holdings LLC Land Use Entitlement Project request regarding First Amendment and restatement of the Vegas Rising Development Agreement on approximately 16.97 acres southeast corner of Richfield Boulevard and Wilmington Way. This is in Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. And 53230626 DR1 applicant City of Las Vegas, owner Kelly Wallace on land use entitlement project request to designate the property known as Track 3 Huntridge Home as a historic site on the City of Las Vegas Historic Property Registry as approved by the Historic Preservation Commission 230545-HPC1 at 1425 Francis Avenue, R1 Single Family Residential Zone, Ward 3, Councilwoman Diaz. Planning Commission and staff recommend approval of all items. These are public hearings which I declare open. Is there anyone wishing to be heard on any of the items 45 through 53?
Mayor, Seth Floyd for the record. So on the last item, item 53, the historic site, Diane Sebrandt and the property owner, Miss Wallace, are here just to tell you, it's kind of an exciting one. We don't see these all that often. So if it's okay with you, I'd like for them to just tell you about that house and before you vote.
Hi, yes. We'd love to hear. Hopefully you have pretty pictures.
Good morning, Diane Sebrandt, Historic Preservation Officer for the City of Las Vegas. So we are very excited to be adding another property to our historic register. Of course, that does ensure that the property is protected from any alterations or demolition so that it retains its historic character. So 1425 Francis Avenue is located in Track 3 of the Huntridge neighborhood. It is only one of 3 that has retained its historic integrity. And this was a neighborhood that was built during World War II to support war workers that were in the defense industry. The original owner worked for Basic Magnesium, and the lady standing next to me is the owner, and she is only the second owner of this home. It has retained its integrity. There's been very minimal changes. It's one of the only houses in that neighborhood that also has its carport. And this is our last step to get this house on our historic register once the council approves. So I'll turn it over
That's
to
wonderful.
Ms.
Tell
Wallace.
us about it and what's the square footage, how many bathrooms? Is it all one big room? Tell us what it's like.
It's 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
And your name, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Kelly Wallace.
Thank you.
It's about 1150 square feet, and it was pretty much original when I bought it from the original owners. So the inside is still, the vintage tile, and the layout is the same. And I've tried to keep it as original as possible because I like it that way. Yeah. What other questions?
And the vegetation around it, is that cabbage? What is that growing there?
It's called Myoporum, and it's like a ground cover, drought tolerant, so it doesn't need a lot of water. I planted it, and yeah, it's great. I love it. And then there's some artificial grass in there also.
And did it originally have a swamp cooler on it?
Yeah, it did. Not when I bought it, but originally.
Originally?
Yeah.
And do you know the names of the owners before you
Yes.
purchased?
The original owners were Kenneth and Madeline Eastman, and their son David. I've been in contact with him since I bought the house.
And could you spell that last name, please?
Eastman.
Okay. Wonderful.
He sent me pictures of the house from the 40s when they moved in, so it's really cool.
Wonderful. And is it going to be on the tour?
Not yet. They haven't contacted me about it, but maybe they will now.
Maybe to reach out. I think that'd be a great home to tour and see. Any comments, questions from council? Beautiful. Well, yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to congratulate Ms. Wallace on maintaining the home to its original conception and ethos when it was built back in the 40s. Did I hear correctly?
1944 is when it was built.
Really cool. So congratulations on this, and we welcome you wanting to be part of the historic neighborhood.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wallace. I think I read the Planning Commission and staff recommend approval of all these items. They're public hearings. Anyone wishing to make comment, I think I asked. So I will close public comment at this point. And I will ask Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion on the one motion, one vote items, please?
Move to approve the one motion, one vote agenda.
Okay, thank you. There is a motion. Please vote and please post. And thank you, Ms. Wallace, for coming down. That motion carries. Thank you. All right, we're on to agenda items 54 and through 54B, 54-230382 on an appeal of the approval by the Planning Commission following land use entitlement project request on 5.43 acres at 7351 West Alexander Road, undeveloped R rural density residential general plan designation and CV civic zones 54A 2303A2 Vieira 1 to allow a 12-foot solid front yard wall where a 5-foot front yard wall fence is a 2-foot solid base is the maximum allowed. Number 54B 2303A2 SDR1 major amendment to a previously approved development plan C0022-881 for the proposed expansion of Wayne Bunker Park to establish an outdoor pickleball complex. The applicant is the City of Las Vegas. The owner is the United States of America and City of Las Vegas. Planning Commission and staff recommend approval on the entire land use entitlement project. These are in Ward 4 with Councilwoman Polensky and her public hearings, which I declare open. And shall we hear from our head of planning, please?
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. Seth Floyd for the record. Mayor, this is an appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of the project. Staff finds that the proposed development will be compatible and harmonious with the existing and surrounding residential development, as indicated by the request to deviate from code to provide sound attenuation and the associated conditions of approval imposed upon the application. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the requested site development plan review and variance subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have anyone here who wishes to make comment on agenda item 54, 54A and B? And if so, please state your name for the record. And thank you. It should be on, but I can't. There it is. It's
Okay,
on.
thank you.
Great.
Beverly Salhanick, I'm the appellant. My understanding is that Councilwoman Alan Polensky is going to ask that this be returned to Planning Commission for further review based on the sound study that was recently received. I have not had an opportunity to review the sound study. I was advised to make a request for public records. I have done so, but my request will not even receive its initial response until next Monday. So I have not had an opportunity to review it. I don't know what the sound study suggests, and consequently do not know what additional revisions need to be done. I think I'm hoping that everyone is familiar with the contents of my appeal letter, which indicated first that the sound study is a significant issue, and that there's litigation ongoing across the country. I appreciate the fact that after 2 years of asking for a sound study, that someone has finally decided that it is appropriate to do one. We're also very concerned about the water usage, both in terms of how it will impact our water usage, because we are well and septic. If the state engineer deems that your water use is too close to our well and septic, we can be forced to go off our well and septic at the cost of approximately $200,000 per home. We're not interested in having to be put in that situation, particularly because we believe that the impact of this court will be to decrease our property values, and will make that we will not be able to recoup that amount upon sale. Third, a drainage issue. We had significant problems with the big rains that we had in September, including the washing out of the end of Constantinople, where it reaches the walking track that goes around the detention basin. We're also concerned about parking. Despite there's an issue of placing no parking signs on there, fine. People ignore them. Particularly, and they will continue to ignore them, particularly when there is a gate for the project at the east end of the project. They will park on our street. If the mayor wants, or somebody wants to bring up the map, I can point it out.
It is up.
Well, I've got that's the map. I mean the drawing, the schematic.
Okay.
You can see where that gate is. If you go to, and I keep forgetting the name of the street, it's adjacent to the post office on Smoke Ranch and Tenaya. If you go there at 6:30 or so on a Friday night, despite no parking signs up and down the street, people are parked up and down that street to go into the sports complex there. People ignore no parking signs. Additionally, if you look at the schematic, the wall at the west end of the project is link fence. It's not a solid sound wall, and that's adjacent to the church. I'm certain that the people in the church, at their services, and at the school that is there, or I'm not sure if it's a school or a daycare, but I do see people bringing children in and out at early morning and about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're not going to appreciate the sound of pickleball day in and day out, particularly if you have small children trying to nap. So as a result, I really support pardon me, I support returning this to the Planning Commission for additional study, not only of the sound study, but also of drainage, parking, and the impact on our water use.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down. And anyone else who'd like to make comment regarding 54A and B, and please state your name for the record.
Hey, good morning. My name is Steve Priedel. I live right across the street from Beverly. I agree with everything Beverly said. We need that sound study. We've been asking for this for over 2 years. We still don't have this. I'm not a pro, but as I research this, every sound study says pickleball shouldn't be within 500 to 600 feet of any homes. This is going to put how many pickleball courts? 24, 25? Within 75 feet of my house, even less from her house. It's going to be nonstop noise from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of our lives for the rest of our lives in those homes. There is a church that will not be able to have privacy during their funeral services. There is a senior living center where old people are spending their last few years out in the courtyards that will not have the peace and quiet that they currently have in the courtyards that they have access to now. There are us families. I mean, luckily I've got the day off, I can come down here, but there's more people in our neighborhood that are going to be disturbed by this that couldn't make it today because they're working. Even with the sound studies that I look at, or the pickleball courts similar to ours that I find online, you guys are talking about I don't mean you guys, but they're talking about a 12-foot wall. It's recommended that the wall be at least the height of the nearest house to mitigate some of that sound. We're talking 20 feet is what's going to be necessary. And that wall, it does get put up. What's going to happen to the water that comes down the street? It does flood. It comes all the way up my driveway. With a wall there, it's going to force all that into my house. I'm going to deal with that. Plus, we're going to have to deal with, as Beverly said, getting water brought to our house if it's ordered so. That's $200,000. I don't have $200,000. I can't afford that. I can't even afford a haircut. Okay, so it's just, there's not a single positive thing about this for any of us residents. And if you guys would have looked into this sound study 2 years ago when we first brought this to everybody's attention, you could have applied for that. You could have moved that BLM loan that you're getting to some other location where it doesn't get in the way of senior citizens, of a church, of families, of neighborhood. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
Appreciate your coming down. Thank you. Anyone else on agenda item 54A and B? I'll close public hearing, and unless there are comments from council, Councilwoman Polensky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move to remand item number 54 back to Planning Commission, and that's, of course, due to the results of the sound study. I'd like to make sure that staff re-notifies all the folks in the area so that they're aware of the changes made. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion then to remand back to planning. And this is on agenda item 54, 54A and B. Anything else from our council down there? Nope, all go. Okay, please vote and please post. And that carries. 55 has been obeyed to the 6th of March, correct? Correct. Okay, we're now on to, we're going to pull forward agenda item 58 to hear with agenda item 56. And we'll take separate votes, but we'll hear them together. Agenda item 56, 230074, SDR1, applicant Morgan Stonehill, owner Sahara Rancho 008 LLC, land use entitlement project request to allow a 7-story mixed-use development consisting of 352 residential units and 5,980 square feet of commercial space with a waiver of Title 1908 residential adjacency standards on 3.05 acres northeast corner Sahara Avenue and Rancho Drive, C1 Limited Commercial Zone. Number 58, 230443 GPA 1, applicant City of Las Vegas, owner Sahara Rancho 008 LLC, land use entitlement project request from TOC2 Transit Oriented Corridor to TOD1 Transit Oriented Development on 15.28 acres northeast corner Sahara Avenue and Rancho Drive. Planning Commission and staff recommend approval of 23-0074 SDR1 for item 58, 230443-GPA1. Planning Commission recommends denial. Staff recommends approval. Both these items are in Ward 1 with Councilman Knudsen, are public hearings which I declare open. And is the applicant or representative present?
Madam Mayor, if I could jump in real quick. Because item 58, if it's okay with you, if that goes first, I'd like to ask for Mr. Floyd's staff report on item 58. And then, again, if it's okay with you, then I'll turn it over to Ms. Ozovich.
Okay, please.
Yep. Thanks, Councilman. Seth Floyd for the record. And it's a consolidated staff report, Councilman, so I'll just go ahead and do the staff report for both of those items. Mayor, the proposed development supports the priorities and goals of the Las Vegas 2050 Master Plan by bringing additional dwelling units to bear in a mixed-use development, as well as by facilitating a transit-oriented development that will support multimodal transportation along Sahara Avenue. As such, staff is in support of the project and recommends approval of both applications. Since the January 4th Planning Commission, staff has received a revised landscape plan that depicts conformance to conditions of approval placed upon it by Planning Commission for the elimination of a proposed dog park and the planting of a double row of 36-inch box evergreen trees. The updated landscape plan is in your backup materials, and if approved, staff requests the following condition or change be made to the SDR, and that's condition number 5, which would read, all development shall be in conformance with the site plan, date stamped 12/18/23, landscape plan, date stamped 1/30/24, and the building elevations, date stamped 12/28/23, except as amended by conditions herein. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Floyd, I would expect more people here. I'm assuming they're watching right now because I've gotten many emails, and so for the benefit of this council and for those watching, would you mind just explaining item 58 in, let's say, my speak, how I would talk about it so that people understand the difference between items 56 and 58?
Yeah, so item number 58 is a general plan amendment, city-initiated general plan amendment that would amend the 2050 master plan that the council adopted a couple of years ago to change what that designation is. And the rationale for that is because it is located along a transit-oriented, what's been identified in the master plan as a transit-oriented corridor, which is Sahara Avenue. And so that change would be a change to reflect that corridor and to allow for and facilitate more dense development along that corridor to support future transit along that corridor. I do want to emphasize, though, that even the prior designation does allow certain levels of density, including the density that the applicant has proposed. But that was the rationale for that GPA, if that's clear.
That's great. And before Ms. Lazovich begins speaking, I just wanted this council to know, and for those watching from the Glen Heather neighborhood in particular, it was me who requested planning staff put that GPA forward, and the intent was to really fall in line with the 2050 master plan. So that was my request, not the developer's request. And as soon as Ms. Lazovich is done and we do get to vote, I will be making a motion to withdraw that item without prejudice. Just based on the comments and feedback from the neighborhood and in conversations with the Regional Transportation Commission, the developer, and the city planning staff. So in a public comment period, item 56 we'll hear, but item 58 I'll be asking to withdraw without prejudice. Thank you, Mayor.
And let me ask our attorney, can we wait for the presentation, or should we address 58? Where are you?
I switched to the left side. I wanted to be by Seth and Peter for the planning items. I think Mr. Floyd laid out both items, so we're good to go there, Mayor, to your question. And then it sounded like Councilman's going to make a motion to take care of one of the items, and then we'll deal with 56.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, Jennifer Lazovich, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive. Despite, and the councilman raised the issue, although there might not be a lot of people in the audience, if you could indulge me for a minute, because this site has a lot of history. People might be watching at home, and I want to make sure that I put some stuff on the record. So the project is located at Sahara and Rancho. It's part of a larger commercial center that is already Zone C1, but the site itself would sit back adjacent to the 15. The one thing I do want to note, it might be a little bit hard to see, but there is right at where my finger is an existing office building and like parking shade structure for cars for the office building. That is part of this site and will be, it's empty now, it's a vacant building, it will be torn down, and in its place will be the proposed project that I'm talking about. The site, as I mentioned, has a decent amount of history. We started this project several months ago with our first neighborhood meeting, and we had quite a few people there who expressed a number of concerns, and I'm only highlighting some of them. But when we initially started the project, it was a 7-story multifamily building all across. The entire building was 7 stories. There was no setback from the homes that sit to the north. So one of the comments we heard is that that seemed a bit abrupt to go from not only a single family housing subdivision, but a single story housing subdivision, and then you cross the wall and a little bit of space, and then you've got a 7-story building. Now, this is a mixed-use project, and you'll note that as part of the item 56, we do have a waiver for residential adjacency, but staff is recommending approval of that. Again, it's a mixed-use project, so even when it was the 7-story building, staff recommended approval of this, looking at where the project sits in totality to Sahara Rancho, the 15, and of course part of the commercial center, and that it is C1. But that was one of the neighbors' comments. The other neighbors' comments included concerns about traffic on Rancho. They also included privacy concerns for the units that face towards the north. And then there were very specific comments raised about the type of tree that we are providing in this north area, as well as the fact that we also showed a dog park on the north side of our building right here. So we took that back. We did 2 neighborhood meetings, both of which were very well attended. And what we presented at the Planning Commission is what I'm presenting to you today. And so I'd like to go through the changes that we made, and again, that we presented at the Planning Commission. Number 1 is we removed the dog park. So the dog park is no longer on our north boundary. This is part of what Mr. Floyd read into the record with the revised landscape plan that we provided to them. We have already provided this, and as you can see, there's no dog park here. What we did is, we do believe that some of our residents may have dogs that are in compliance with whatever the lease terms are, but we have a courtyard area over here where our building surrounds it, and that would be where we're going to propose to put our own dog park for our own residents. In addition, a very specific request was made for the type of tree that went in this area. Something fast-growing, but green, evergreen, but not too messy. Those are kind of hard to get all with one, but we found this Italian stone pine. So it's fast-growing, it's an evergreen. I'm told it's not as messy, and it is on the approved plant list, which was, of course, very important. So we have done an Italian stone pine, and in your staff report for the site plan review, item number, or condition number 2 under planning, talks about the fact that we will put these plants in and that they will be 36-inch box trees. In addition to that, with regard to the transition of the building, what we did is we did a 3-story component on our north boundary, a little easier to see here. So where this was once all 7 stories all the way across, right here, this is now 3 stories, maximum height of 35 feet. That does meet the residential adjacency to the homes to the north. Then when you get to this part, now it shows parking stalls. Essentially, this is a 2-level parking garage with units above it. So imagine there are units above this at 7 stories. There's just a little edge right here, right where my finger is, that doesn't meet the residential adjacency. So we do still need the waiver, but it's substantially improved from the way it was when we started, with the 7-story building coming out to here. Now the 7-story building starts back here, and there's just a little area that doesn't even comply with the residential adjacency, but the 3-story component does. In addition to that, we agreed to do no balconies I'll use this one, no balconies on the north side of the building. And condition number 3 talks about that. So condition number 3 indicates 3A, no balconies provided on either the 3-story or the 7-story portion of the north building elevation facing towards the single-family homes. So the portion here facing towards the single-family and the portion here facing towards the single-family, that will not have any balconies. In addition to that, we agreed to do the incorporation of metal awnings. This kind of gives you an idea. We had this created before we incorporated the 3-story elements, so please just look at this for the idea of this is what the 7-story portion of the building would look like. The incorporation of metal awnings above and below the windows, so it's these right here. They are not balconies. They are specifically metal-looking awnings, because what that does is that visually directs your eyes out as opposed to down. It's a little bit of our way of trying to further help that any type of visual looking down onto the neighbors' yards to the north of us. So that is included in the staff report as condition number 3B. And so finally, I want to end with a discussion on the traffic. This was a consistent concern of the neighbors from the very beginning, so much so that we did something that's I'll say a little bit unusual, because as we know, traffic studies are only required if the project is approved, and then it occurs after the project has been approved. But what we did instead is we turned in a traffic study around December, I believe it was, a little before that, we assumed the project was approved, and if it was approved, we did a traffic study based upon 344 units. When we reduced the height, or a portion of the height, from 7 stories to 3 stories, we did lose some units. So I want to be clear again that it's 344 units. That's what I described at the Planning Commission as well. But the traffic and impact analysis, or traffic study, looked at how this project would or could function with traffic, given all the other uses that are there today, and then assuming this project came in. And I think that this is very important, because oftentimes there's, again, because of the order where the traffic study comes, and with this being one of the things that was a big concern for the neighbors, we wanted them to know that we heard them, we took it seriously, and that we turned in the traffic study. And this is the acceptance letter back from the traffic engineer about this. It does have us do some things on site to help with the queue, I'll call it the queuing coming in and off of the site. As you may know, if you've driven over to this area, there is an actual stoplight right here. There's a light here at Sahara and Rancho, but there's a stoplight here. And that stoplight allows you to go into this project or into where this office project is. And so what the traffic acceptance letter has us do is remove on site. We have our own traffic circle, which we're removing. And then we would be restriping the lanes right in this area, and that's the lanes that are on our site, but that are going towards Rancho, so that we could help with the queuing to get in and the flow for that traffic signal light, and as well as allowing for a longer, I'll call it, throat depth or driveway coming off of Rancho with the removal of that traffic circle. All of it is designed to make sure and to try to help with the flow of traffic on Rancho, even with the inclusion of this project. And then I'll summarize with, a lot of also what we heard was a concern about just the amount of traffic that a apartment project or a multifamily project would generate. And so we decided to kind of run our own study with 2 different ideas of a commercial use that could go here. Obviously, there's an office building that's empty here, so the likelihood of an office building going in here and being successful wasn't what we studied. What we studied was maybe a smaller grocery store, and then we also studied some uses that had a drive-through. Whatever those drive-throughs might have been, it could be, we all know that there's a Chick-fil-A here and there's a Panera, but there are no burger uses on site, there are no Mexican uses on site, so we could have added in our analysis, and that could have fit back here, 2 or 3 drive-through concepts that would not be prohibited by the lease, but that could be truly, I'll say, a realistic type of use that could be back there. With respect to the drive-throughs, there's AM and PM trip AM and PM trip generation. With the AM trip generation, and this is comparing both the entering and the exiting, and be about 357 trips. And then with the PM trip generation, it would be 138 and 127, which would be about 265 trips in the AM PM. In the supermarket scenario, as we maybe all know, we tend to go to the grocery store after work. So the morning was not as busy with a total of 86 trips, but the afternoon PM would be pretty busy at 269. If you compare those 2 uses to what our uses would be, in the AM, we'd have about 140 trips for AM, and then in the PM, we'd have roughly about 140. I'm doing the quick math. My point being is, in both cases, the multifamily project generates less traffic than either a smaller scale supermarket would, or, in my opinion, it would be more likely that there'd probably be some fast food restaurants that would go back here, and it would generate significantly less traffic than some fast food restaurants would have. So I will end my presentation there, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Yes.
And Madam Mayor, before anybody else has any questions, I asked Mr. Norby and Ms. Paskey to talk about some of the traffic things that are going on from the city, and then the Rancho redesign, just because I think it's relevant to this conversation. And then, if that's okay with you,
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, good morning, Mayor and Council. Joseph Norby, City Traffic Engineer for the record.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and Council members. Rosa Cortez, City Engineer, Deputy Director, not Joey Paskey.
So just quickly wanted to take the opportunity to come down and talk a little bit about some of the things that we do have going on in the area. Rosa's going to speak a little bit about the Rancho Drive project improvements, capital improvement project that we have coming down the pipe, and then following her few slides, I will talk a little bit about site-specific traffic related to this development.
So we are currently designing the Rancho Drive project. It is 2 miles from Sahara to Mesquite. For purposes of the item today, we will focus on the south mile from Sahara to Charleston. What you see on the screen shows you the overview alignment there along Rancho, and in this particular portion of the project, it includes traffic calming and community gateway upgrades. We have 10-foot sidewalks being proposed on the east side of Rancho from Sahara to Oakey, and then 10-foot sidewalks from Oakey to Charleston. We also have streetlight upgrades along this entire mile, and some raised median islands that will be landscaped, and opportunities for creating some entry monument signs in the area. Here is a closer look at the area near the proposed development. What we have showing you here is lane configurations along Rancho. There are 2 through lanes in each direction, north and south. At the Sahara Rancho intersection, we have a dedicated right lane that goes south to west. On the east side of the street, you will see a bus turnout just north of Sahara. And then north of there, we have the right turn lane into the Sahara Rancho Corporate Center that leads into the business center where the development is being proposed. Other than that, it's continuing what is out there today with the through lanes. We did add those medians in this stretch to provide that traffic calming. And the next few slides, Joe's going to talk in more detail about his study.
So in addition to a lot of the streetscape, really gets us back into that downtown feel that we're kind of starting to get used to. Complete streets, a little bit wider sidewalks, curb gutter sidewalk improvements, street lighting improvements that really kind of extend what we're going to be seeing in the medical district all the way down to the Sahara intersection. A little bit of background information. We do appreciate Ms. Lazovich and the her client and their ability to reach out and work with the city throughout this process. We've, along with planning, attended their neighborhood meetings starting back in September of last year. Took a lot of good feedback from the neighbors and the community, incorporated that into some site design changes, and then met again with the community partners and residents in the early part of January. As Ms. Lazovich mentioned, it is not standard to provide a traffic study this early in the game, but they went through that. They worked with our city traffic engineering staff to incorporate the changes, some of the design features, and some of the different things that we were looking to get incorporated, and to be able to help prepare this site for the redevelopment. Planning Commission was in January, and then outside of this, for the last several months, we've been working with the neighborhoods specifically to analyze and look at traffic in and around the neighborhoods that impacted and felt a lot of impact kind of post Project Neon, now a little bit of Charleston Rancho reconstruction, some other things. So we've studied and met with those neighborhood groups as well. As we look specifically at the site, and I think my next slide we'll talk about this a little bit as well, and Ms. Lazovich hit on it as well, that the site we're looking at about 125 and 102. I think your numbers were slightly different than mine, but in that ballpark. I may have pulled off the wrong figure in the traffic impact analysis. So we're looking at a little over 100 peak hour trips, both the AM and PM. What this equates to is if we kind of dissect that down, we're looking at approximately, we look at the adjacent traffic signals, we're looking at 4 extra vehicles per traffic cycle, stretched across to 60-minute period, as the peak contribution specifically to this mixed-use development. I'll get to the next slide here in a second. We'll talk about some of these other on-site traffic mitigation measures and the signal improvements. So here's just a blown up image of the site that's being proposed. They are proposing to remove the roundabout in the middle to improve their site circulation. This was a concern for the city as well when we reviewed their TIA, is how is this going to impact their on-site circulation, a big thing that we look at. And then we look at how that's going to impact the adjacent traffic signals.
Could I interrupt you with a question?
Yes.
I've just asked Mayor Pro Tem, but I wanted to make sure that whoever's watching. On the north side, which is if you look at that diamond shape where the project is, on that north line there, is there a wall enclosing that entire commercial piece?
Along the northern edge?
Right there between the property, the parking, you can see all the parking, and then you see the housing. Is there a solid wall along that?
The property wall, yes. Okay.
And how high? It's solid? It's not see-through?
Not a chain link style fence. It is block or wooden solid wall.
Mayor, Jennifer Lazovich, there is a solid block wall separating the homes from the commercial center, and I'm going to say it's about 5 feet. I don't believe it's 6. I think it is 5.
Okay, thank you. Please continue. Sorry, just need.
No, you're fine. Thank you. So continuing on with this site development plan as they're proposing it, some additional left turn lanes will be required to come out to manage the on-site queue. So there will be some minor traffic signal modifications at the Rancho Drive and that commercial center intersection that will be needed to accommodate that. And then the traffic signals adjacent in either direction, looking at those with the minimal additional per cycle vehicles that we're looking at, we don't anticipate those being drastically more congested than they are today, based on the traffic volumes and the traffic study that was conducted. So with that, it kind of gives a little bit of background from where we're standing, and hopefully help support the development that is looking to come into this area. And then we'll stand if you have any questions.
Okay, just one question.
Yep.
Please.
Mr. Norby, the question that the mayor asked, which is a valid question, and I've talked about it with the neighbors and with the city team and with the developer, is the potential expansion of the Martin Luther King overpass going from Alta all the way to DI. I know NDOT just started their public process, but are you able to provide any insight as to what you think that could look like and its impact on this particular
and
project?
If I might disclose too, I live just on the north side of Oakey, and it is complete to that juncture where there's a light at Oakey and Martin Luther King, and then you can tell it's open to go through, and how would that affect this?
Yeah, no, great question. So we are working with Nevada Department of Transportation on their environmental study and their review of the alternatives. And right now we do show alternatives that show MLK continuing through this intersection adjacent to this property. Right now it is very tight as it sits today, but that is alternatives in alignment and shifting, a couple feet here or there to stay within the existing right-of-way that NDOT has. Alternatives have not been completed. They've been schematically drawn, and there's still a lot of wiggle room in how that will all come together as part of that process as it goes through. And we are early in the infancy in the NDOT study of something that we anticipate to continue to be studied for about the next 2 years.
So at this point, even if we're only to continue to Sahara, Martin Luther King from Oakey, which is not a great distance, you don't see any help to alleviate any of the traffic issues that have been brought up by having, and for those watching on this plan that's in front of us, it is at the very bottom of the screen. If you could point to where that is planned to go, it's on the bottommost
the east
part.
Side. East side of this map.
No, it's actually the south of the map.
So the bottom of the screen as it sits right now is the off-ramp today where MLK would extend. Right now, the plans show MLK extending all the way down past the city limits, is what NDOT's showing. There would not be a MLK Rancho or MLK Sahara connection. MLK right now is proposed to go over Sahara and then land on the south side of Sahara along the frontage that is Rancho today and continue south. With then connections to get back around the west side of Palace Station to get down to Sahara.
Because I think that's something important for the residents to understand, that if in fact that is put in place, and it's not that great distance to Sahara, but if it's going to be an overpass, and I'm sure that's been studied, at least it is something to be looking at as what might affect this area.
It definitely is a benefit to pulling vehicles off of Rancho.
That's why.
And deviating some of those trips.
Correct.
Bypassing the Sahara signal and some of that area. Correct. That would definitely, if we get to that point, when we get to that point, it will, we expect it would show a reduction in trips down Rancho.
Because we've been in that area over 40 years, and that's what has been told to us, that it would really help alleviate what's going on the Rancho corridor. So.
Yep. No, great comment and great question. Thank you.
Anything else? Any comments, questions from council? Nope. Okay, Councilman.
And I believe we have to open it up for public hearing. And if it's okay, Madam Mayor, if we open it up for public hearing on item 58, and for anybody that would like to speak on item 58, I just want to let you know that I am going to motion for that item 58, which is the general plan amendment, to be withdrawn without prejudice.
So public comment, anyone wishing to make public comment, then probably address, you can hold your 58 till the next time it's brought back, if it's brought back, but really more pertinent is on 56. So anyone wishing to make comment? Good morning, or no? Good morning.
Good morning, Shelley Walters. My address is 2112 Kirkland Avenue. If you're withdrawing it, does that mean that it's not coming back, or it is coming back?
I have no intention of bringing it back for the foreseeable future.
Okay, thank you very much, and we all appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close public comment, and since there are no comments, questions from council, we'll turn it over to you, Councilman Knudsen.
Madam Mayor, on item 58, I'm going to move to withdraw without prejudice, with support from planning staff. Nodding of a head, yes.
Okay, there's a motion to withdraw without prejudice, agenda item 58. Would you please vote and please post? And that motion carries. And then what are we doing with 56?
I believe unless there's other comments from Ms. Lazovich, it would be open to public comment for item number 56.
Oh, okay, we're going to reopen public comment. I was closing both together. Any other comments? Any questions from council? Okay, I will. Yes, certainly. Come on back, please, on 56.
You guys are moving fast today. There were some other people planning on being here from the neighborhood. Shelley Walters, 2112 Kirkland Avenue. And I ran out of the house and forgot my speech, so bear with me. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of the history of this parcel of land, and started for me back in 96, 97, I believe. Well, I moved into the neighborhood in 98. So, and there's been several things proposed for this parcel, and a lot of them have gone through, some of them haven't. The Chick-fil-A was approved because it was our understanding, the neighborhood, that the zoning on that parcel would be 2 stories high, and they would allow offices and restaurants. And so that's how the Chick-fil-A got in there and all of that. Now, the Chick-fil-A has caused a bit of trouble in our neighborhood with trash, with people parking and eating their lunch in the neighborhoods. The traffic, it took my husband and I 20 minutes to get to Palace Station the other night. And I live in the center of Glen Heather Estates. You know, we probably could have walked faster. So there's already a lot of traffic there. In 2004, I think it was, 20 homes were removed from Glen Heather by NDOT through eminent domain. So we've really felt the squeeze in our neighborhood on both sides. And it's a shame because our neighborhood is, it's a great neighborhood. I've lived there for 25 years. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor in Las Vegas for 22 years, and I do most of my business in that area. And we get together every year. We do block parties. We apply for MPF grants. We love our neighborhood. We just don't like the squeeze. We don't like the traffic. And, you know, we're having a hard time with it. One of our neighbors was killed in July. I think some of you are aware of this. She was turning out of Glen Heather onto Rancho, going to work at Palace Station, and was hit by a driver going 65 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone there on Rancho. And her car caught on fire, and she ended up passing away. And was a very tragic accident for our neighborhood. Then I just wanted to mention all of the other high-density apartment complexes that you are building within 2 miles of this location. And it just seems, I was doing some research on the website. It seems like there's about 2,500 either under construction or planned units. That's units, not projects. And it seems like our area eventually here in the next couple of years is going to get saturated with these sorts of apartments. And I'm wondering what happens then when the rents start going down. Maybe they end up selling them to somebody who wants to do a hotel or weekly, monthly rentals. What will we be dealing with then? That's a question. It's just something to think about. And then the next thing I have is through all of these projects, everything that's either been approved or not approved for this parcel, none of the developers or the council has ever offered us anything to mitigate the traffic. And I know there's a lot of plans for Rancho. There's going to be stuff done, but we've never been offered anything. And what I mean by that is some sort of traffic mitigation, gates. All the other neighborhoods around us have some sort of gates or speed humps. McNeil has speed humps. Rancho Bonito is a neighborhood that you can't cut through. It was designed that way, later than all of our neighborhoods, of course. Ours was established in 1954, so back then they weren't thinking about the traffic. Neighborhood there where people can still cut through the neighborhood, and they do, like clockwork. So I think with this project that nobody's really thought about the safety of our neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods, or the safety of the people who may be living in this apartment complex. There's children that will be living there that'll have to go to school. We're very concerned about the safety. The bus stop is on the other side of our neighborhood. They would have to walk from Rancho all the way down to through our neighborhood to catch the bus, unless they move it, of course. So that's something else. I really hope you guys think about this and think about the encroachment on a historic neighborhood that we love, and what this might do to our property values, especially the properties on Glen Heather Way. So thank you for your time and for letting me speak so long, and I would appreciate a no vote from all of you on this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. They're all very truthful, and having lived there at 47 years, we've watched it change. We are a non-gated community in the Scotch 80s, which is just north of Oakey, and we've watched the change in the neighborhood over these several decades. And so it's called progress, and we just know we're trying to examine everything, and with the help of those who are developing properties, safety is always number one for this council, and I mean really number one. So certainly you've given food for thought, and I know Councilman Knudsen will take all of your comments in and make sure that to the best. I thought it was a good comment that you made about the neighborhood perhaps getting to a point that changes could be made around the outside of Glen Heather, but that's another piece, because to get in and get out, they do come through the Scotch 80s regularly from Rancho to cut through the neighborhood to get down to Shadow, and they're speeding in there despite the humps or bumps or whatever they're called. So it's a very dangerous time. I know in the 50s there was a terrible accident. We lost a nurse at Oakey and Rancho from a youngster speeding and having had too much to drink, and lost a nurse then. So this is an ongoing issue. It's multifaceted, but appreciate your comments, and I know he will, as this goes forward, take into consideration and explore different thoughts. So anyone else wishing to make comment? I'm going to close public hearing on 56 and go back to you, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And if with your indulgence and the indulgence of this council, I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes talking about this particular project. This really is a lot of the time and energy that I spent on the medical district. And so with that being said, I want to start with the opposition, because I think Shelley is a representative and the only person who spoke in public comment, but I received probably 25 to 30 emails and texts and calls in opposition, and I kind of want to just briefly outline those points. I want to make sure everyone's aware. This intersection is very busy, and it's been exacerbated lately because of the construction that Ms. Cortez talked about. Right now, we're about to do a sewer rehab. There's because of the projects on the south side of Sahara, there's utility work being done on Sahara. There's more work being done on Sahara. Charleston is under construction. So this area has received a lot of public work investment, and that's creating a lot of tension within for my life in general, because I drive the street probably 5 times a day. So I just want to bring up some of the opposition. Its traffic is probably the number one concern that the neighbors have in all 3 surrounding neighborhoods. So there's McNeil Estates, there's Rancho Bonita, Rancho Serena, and Glen Heather. Another issue is the height of the building. I think the developers come to the table over the last several months and tried the best they can to rectify that, bringing that first section of the building down to 3 stories. The other challenges that come with this particular property are the same that we see in every apartment complex that we have come before us, is we don't want it near us. And so that's one thing that I think is important to just think about. I do know this area very well. I live a mile from it. I drive Rancho at least 5 times a day to pick up my kids and drop off my kids, and I have friends at McNeil and other neighborhoods, and so I drive the area quite a bit. It's very busy in the morning, it's very busy in the evening. The rest of the time it's not as busy. And I know these residential areas don't want apartment complexes. It comes up in every single apartment complex I've approved. I've approved 5 apartment complexes since I've been on council. And in every single conversation, it's the same: is how can you get us more affordable housing? How can you get us more housing? But please don't do it here. And so that creates a real challenge for us. Ms. Walters, I did pay attention in the Planning Commission. I just want to bring up some of those comments, because there's one woman who came and said, I want a grocery store right there. Why can't you put in a grocery store? And then someone came up right after that and said, no, don't do a grocery store. And that is sometimes the conflict that I enter into, is I can't make everybody happy. I'm doing my very best to figure out how we bring in more residential areas into the downtown core. And the estimate right now is that we're about 50,000 units short in the valley. And so, Madam Mayor, I'm just going to kind of quote you for a second. The heart of the city is where we need to spend the most time and attention. If you build up the core, just like an apple, if you build up the core, the rest of the city will flourish. And so to that, I've been working towards bringing more art, more culture, more medicine, more research. And when I sit there in the hospital talking to those doctors and those medical students and those dental students, they're choosing to live in Summerlin because they can't afford to live anywhere near the medical district. They can't even think about living near the medical district. There is nowhere for them to live. And that plays out in their futures. They choose to live somewhere else because they can't live near where they work. And so that kind of drove me to this conversation now, is the developer pushing this on me. And that's some of the feedback I've gotten in emails, is I'm beholden to the developers. Just to be very clear, I requested the developers to come and do this. I requested the development of the medical district, and this is part of the medical district. It is how those doctors, those nurses, those dentists will look at Las Vegas, as if they can live close to where they go to school, close to where they work, because it'll make them choose to stay here, is my hope. It's my desire. As far as the investment in the area, I've spent the last 4 years trying my very best to invest in this area. So there's a number of public art installations that will go in. Rancho Drive is going to be completely redone, very, very painful right now. The dog park on Rancho and Oakey is really intended for the surrounding neighborhoods to slow down traffic. There'll be giant art sculptures within that dog park to help slow down traffic. Monument signs in the neighborhoods to help slow down traffic. So I'm doing my very best to make sure that I meet everybody's needs, knowing that at the end of the day, some people are just going to be very, very upset with me. So I just wanted to put all that out there, because this is a very, very difficult decision to make. I know how challenging it is to be in a neighborhood with development across the street. I live a mile away, and the next accusation that would be thrown at me is I would never do it near my neighborhood. And I'll be happy to tell you that in about 6 months, there'll be a planning item comes through that wants to develop the empty lot across from where I live. And it'll be significantly more traffic than what an apartment complex brings. And so these are the tough challenges of, I think, Las Vegas, and living in one of the largest cities in our community is how do we develop and be respectful of the people who live there. And my best response is, I think the best way to preserve neighborhoods is to invest in them, both public and private investment. I'm not coming in to take people's homes. I'm not coming in to damage quality of life. I'm doing my very best to figure out how we get more people to invest in the downtown core, the medical district, so that we can improve quality of life for everybody. So that's a long message. I hear everybody in Glen Heather and McNeil Ms. Walters, I know, someone told me that you passed out 1,000 flyers. I know there's opposition. I understand that. I also believe that there's people who are in support of the project. I've had multiple people reach out and say, this is going to add more investment. And they also begged me not to put more fast food restaurants. To Ms. Lazovich's point, that would be the next step for the developer, is to put fast food restaurants back there, would significantly change traffic patterns and damage, I think, the integrity of the neighborhood. So understanding the rights of a property owner, understanding the needs of a neighborhood, and doing my very best to balance everybody's needs. And I think the developers really tried hard to do the very best they can to make the most of their property. So very long-winded. I apologize for talking so long. I just wanted to make sure everyone's on the same page.
It's all right with you?
That's up to you.
Yes, I think you certainly can make it, because you have to understand without question the needs that he had just addressed. They're so complicated, each one of them, and trying to be as thorough as possible and then continue to look at the neighborhood. It's not going to stop just now because of one item. Is how to improve your neighborhood, how to keep everybody safe, how to make it a more enjoyable life, and to build up, because if we don't have decent research and decent medical care and good health in this community, we're bleeding doctors, we're bleeding nurses. We do need the residents for all of these people. So it's a complex overview. And I know how he pains through this because we've had discussions on it. And so the only thing I can assure you is that you keep in contact, work towards different solutions that you're seeing, whether it is in the neighborhood of different types of barriers or walls or humps, whatever it can be. And maybe it is having 3 or 2 of the exits more complex than they are. So please make your comment then, and I see a lady standing up, and I didn't know. I'd certainly be willing to have her come up, make her comments too.
Would it be possible for her as well?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say, is it possible for this to be lower? Our problem is also with the height, and I didn't mention that earlier. Possibly make it lower, less units. We have 183 homes, and now we're going to have 344 homes right next to us. I mean, that's a lot.
Certainly that you've made a record of the request, so thank you.
Thank you.
And if the young lady back there who's standing with our lunch in her bag, come forward. And if you'll state your name for the record, making sure the microphone's on there, please. Thank you.
Okay, it's on. I'm Marnette Rachel. I live at 2601 Gilmary Avenue in McNeil Estates. And I also am against the apartments. A whole bunch of it is the traffic. They just, a couple of years ago, got it so you could go onto Sahara from the freeway without thinking I'm going to get crushed. And the traffic that this would generate, maybe fast food places would generate more, but it's bad. There's also the schools. Rex Bell can't take a whole bunch more students, and if you're talking about families, you're going to have a lot of students. Now, some of them will go to private schools, some of them will go to other schools, but the educational needs of our kids in the city are challenging. But it's just the thought of the traffic. I'm not talking about anything else. And yes, I go through Sahara onto I-15 every day. It's not too bad unless it gets backed up to Charleston, which has been known to happen. I live in a wonderful place. It's my dream house, and I was born in Las Vegas. I lived down on South 16th, went to Mayfair School, which a lot of you don't even know about. But Las Vegas is a great city. We do need more affordable housing downtown, in the downtown area, in the medical district area. But where you're proposing, the traffic's bad enough. If you're trying to get out of Chick-fil-A, which is right there, the first one I think in the city. It's terrible. Terrible to turn left, terrible to turn right, getting out of the banking complex that's there. And then there's Palace Station too. I just don't think, now lower height, fewer units maybe, but, and I know it is needed, the housing is needed. It's not even not in my neighborhood. It is very much traffic and the needs of the neighborhoods and the schools. I don't have children. My sister's a teacher. She worked at Rexdale for several years, and they can't take any more students. They can't really take the students they have.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your coming down. Thank you.
And
Okay,
thanks
I'm
for
gonna
letting me come.
reclose. Thank you. Reclose this, the public hearing part, and turn it back to you, to Councilman.
Madam Mayor, with appreciation of the council for the indulgence to talk and ramble for a little bit, I deeply care about these neighborhoods. I deeply care about the future of Las Vegas, and have invested the city's time and energy and money into making improvements that I think will accommodate the apartment complex. And with appreciation of everyone involved, and please keep advocating, I'm going to move to approve item 56.
Okay, there is a motion there, and all I can do is encourage anyone in the area as you're thinking about this. I see the traffic. Please be in touch with Councilman Knutson as ideas come in, and certainly Councilwoman Diaz, she has the property in her ward across Sahara with Palace Station and going into the Area 15. And I know when you look at what the future plans are in Area 15 and the surrounding apartments there, change is inevitable. So keep looking, stay involved. We really appreciate it. And so with that, if you'll please post, I think we're ready.
Planning Commissioner.
And stay involved. And the
I
motion
believe I
carries.
just want to make sure that that motion included the conditions outlined by the planning staff.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay involved in it. It's coming up with complexes, and I love the idea of what you talked about with different ways to look at Glen Heather. Certainly McNeil is a pristine neighborhood. Every home looks different from every other one. It's unique. It's purposeful. It's great for students and nursing and all these groups that want to come in here and live, and hopefully in very safe neighborhoods. So we're there for you, and it is hard, but this is what we're dealing with. But thank you all. So we will move on to agenda item 57, 230310 SDR1. It's a public hearing. Applicant HER-LOZ1 LLC, owner DI Vegas LLC, possible action land use entitlement project request for a major amendment to a previously approved site development plan. Review SDR 60983 for the proposed addition of fuel pumps and canopy to an existing commercial development of 1.60 acres at 5590 North Rainbow Boulevard, C1, Limited Commercial Zone, Ward 6, Councilman Bruny. Planning Commission recommends denial. Staff recommends approval on the land use entitlement project. It's public hearing. I declare it open. Is the applicant or representative here? Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Mayor Goodman and Council. Lebony Ohini, 520 South 4th Street, representing the applicant for this site plan amendment. To orient you to the site is located at the southeast corner of Rainbow Boulevard and Ann Road, and it's an addition to an existing commercial development consisting of convenience store and gas station with 12 gas pumps. This proposal is for an addition of 8 gas pumps to the existing development. The design is compatible with the existing design, and the development meets all code requirements such as setbacks, landscaping. This is why staff recommended approval of the application. We will graciously appreciate your approval of the application as well. I'm here to take any questions, and we do accept all of staff's recommendations and conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from planning, please.
Good morning, Madam Mayor. Peter Lowenstein for the record. The proposed fuel pumps and canopy locations comply with all the setback requirements and have no additional parking requirements. All perimeter landscaping will remain as previously approved pursuant to the previously approved site development plan review. Therefore, staff has recommended approval of the site development plan review. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, but first and foremost, I want you to make sure you tell your other half, Mr. Fred Doheny. We miss seeing him around. He's retired. His better half is working. And so we send our best to him. What a beautiful man. I miss seeing him regularly. But this is public hearing, so anyone please come up on Agenda 57. And hearing and seeing no one at this point. Any comments from council? Councilwoman Burney, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank Lebany and her team for your willingness to meet with our office to discuss the proposal or the application. I know you spent a lot of time with Commissioner Taylor addressing some of her concerns, so thank you so much. And with that, I am moved to approve item 5723-0310, SDR1.
Thank you very much. This motion to approve. Let's vote, please, and post, please.
Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the day.
And that motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And we'll move, 58, of course, is withdrawn without prejudice, so we'll move on to 59, 59A, B, and C. 230513 and the following land use entitlement project requests on 2.42 acres northeast corner of Cedar Avenue and 28th Street. Number 59A, 230513, GPA 1, General Plan Amendment, PF Public Facility to H High Density Residential. 59B, 230513, ZON1, rezoning from CV Civic to R4 High Density Residential. Number 59C, 230513, SDR1, proposed 6-story, 192-unit multifamily residential development. The applicant is Maxim Rose, LLC. The owner is Victory Outreach, Las Vegas. The Planning Commission and staff recommend approval on the entire land use entitlement project. These are in Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz, and our public hearings, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present?
Good morning. Landon Christofferson, 2885 East Quail Avenue, 89120. The application before you is, as stated, a 6-story, 192-unit development, which will have a parking garage at the north end of the project, and then 2 towers there on the south end adjacent to Cedar. We have 10-foot landscaping around the exterior, 20 feet along the front, and 20 feet at the rear. We meet all setbacks, all requirements, and quickly, just to give you a rough rendering of the project, this is from Cedar, and then this is from 28th. And we agree with all staff's recommendations and requirements, and here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Let us hear from planning, if we could, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Peter Lowenstein for the record. Staff finds the proposed development supports the City of Las Vegas 2050 master plan's objectives of providing additional housing options in order to meet the needs of the growing community. Staff finds the proposed development to be designed in a harmonious and compatible manner with the surrounding area, therefore recommends approval of the requested applications, subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And this is a public hearing. Are there any individuals who'd like to come forward and make comment on agenda item 59, 59A, B, and C? I'll close public hearing. Any questions from council? Councilwoman Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Christofferson. It's rare for us to usually approve projects that are before us that are both staff recommending approval and Planning Commission recommending approval. So I'm not going to belabor more additional housing units for our families. Just so the council is clear, do you have the breakdown of how many of them are 1-bedroom versus 2-bedroom versus 3-bedroom?
I apologize, I didn't bring that with me. That was in the staff report, but it is, I believe, it's roughly 60% 2-3 and 40% 1-bedroom.
Okay.
But these will be, again, for sale product, as we had discussed with you.
Okay, awesome. So it's going to be more of a condo concept then, a condominium that each family can purchase?
Correct, and it does have open space on the top floor of the units that's set on the parking garage. We'll have open space there, a gym, a club, as well as a pool.
Good. So you're basically going to have on-site offerings and amenities. Thank you, MPT, for the word. Okay, so with that, I'm going to move to approve agenda item 59. I think that this is a sound, especially that it's a for sale product. We have a lot of apartments already in that adjacency, and I think that this will, one, take it off of our vacant lot list for the city to make regular appearances at, but two, giving our folks some dignified housing opportunities down the road. So I'll move to approve agenda item 59A, B, and C with conditions. Do we have any conditions, Mr. Lowenstein, or it's all a clean go?
Through you, Madam Mayor, as written in the staff report, the existing conditions are fine. There's no additional conditions.
Awesome. All right.
And how about the timeline?
Oh, could you also articulate before we take a vote, Mr. Christopherson, what the timeline for starting construction and having these units available for sale would
My
be?
understanding is that I'm going to start the studies that are required so permits can be submitted for.
So as soon as you get the approval, you're going to work your side to start moving things along?
That's my understanding.
Okay,
Councilman.
perfect. So hopefully 2 to 3 years from now, we'll see the end product. So excited about that. All right, so I move to approve agenda item 59A through C.
Thank you very much, and please vote and please post. This is exciting. The sooner you can get it up, the sooner all these people that are waiting will be happy. Thank you very much. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 61, A, B, and C. 230589, following land use entitlement project request on 0.46 acres, 3270 North Buffalo Drive, C1.
Sorry, we're on item 60.
What happened to, I'm all clipped together here. Huh. Hold on, thank you, good catch. I have to unclip them. No, they were all clipped together. Okay. Sorry. This is 230530 on the following land use entitlement project request on 1.66. Good catch. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That's why you're Mayor Pro Tem. On the south side of Owens Avenue, approximately 830 feet east of Marion Drive, 60A 230530ZON1, rezoning from R2 medium low density residential to RTH, single family attached. 60B 230530VO1 to allow non-standard residential street termini where a cul-de-sac or hammerhead is required to allow a 1.00 connectivity ratio or 1.30 is the minimum required, and to allow a private street without a gate to not meet public street standards. 60C 230530 TMP1 Aviana at Owens for a proposed 24-lot single-family residential subdivision. The applicant is Vita Bona LLC. The owner is Trinidad Trust and Arnold Managold. The Planning Commission recommends approval on the entire land use entitlement project. Staff recommends approval on 230530Z01 and denial on 230530VAR1 and 230530TMP1. These items are in Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. Public hearings, which I declare open, and we have the same applicant or the same representative.
Same representative, Lana
Yes,
Christopherson,
different.
2885 East Quail Avenue, here representing the applicant. What we have is 1.66 acres with 24 units, each lot being above 1,600 square feet, which would allow the 20-foot setbacks in the front and a minimum of a 10-foot rear yard. The staff would like to see a cul-de-sac here, which would take out some of those units. We feel that we meet the requirement as we're going to do crash gate for the fire, which we believe is a better alternative. We also met the fire department's request to provide 33 feet flow line to flow line, so we meet that requirement. On the connectivity, we feel that we meet that requirement as we are providing 2 accesses from Owens into the project with sidewalk. So we feel that requirement is met. Other than that, we are here to answer any questions, and we concur with staff's recommendations and requirements.
Thank you very much. Let's turn it over to planning, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Peter Lowenstein for the record. Staff finds the rezoning conforms to the general plan and supports the housing goals of the 2050 master plan and recommends approval of the rezoning. The applicant is also proposing the 24-lot single-family attached subdivision with variances to allow 3 deviations from Title 1904 complete street standards, including connectivity ratio, non-standard street terminus, and ungated streets not conforming to public street standards. Staff finds no extraordinary circumstance warrant the requested variance, as staff recommends denial of the variance and the dependent tentative map. Thank you.
Thank you very much. These are rentals, I gather, correct? These are not condos. Well, let me open this up to the public first. This is a public hearing item. Anyone interested in making comments on 60, A, B, or C, please come forward and state your name for the record. And seeing and hearing none, so I'll close public hearing. And any comments first from council? Nothing. Okay, Councilwoman Diaz, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know the mayor had a question. Are these going to be for, are they single family attached units for sale?
Yes, single family attached
So
for sale.
it's an opportunity for home ownership to our members, to the members of the community?
Correct. There'll be roughly 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,340 square feet.
Okay.
Wow.
And,
no rental, all sale.
home ownership.
All for sale.
Wow.
And what will be about, I know that it's always dependent on your timeline when you build, but do you guys have a rough estimate as to what the units may start at?
We're going to try to keep those under 300,000 square feet.
Okay.
Or $300,000.
Yeah, I was like, you don't have that much space
I don't have
here
that much
for
space.
300,000 square feet.
I have another question,
Yes.
if I may.
Yeah, Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman,
please do.
Which goes to planning. Assuming these these units are for sale, and I buy one, what is in the restrictions to prevent me from renting it out?
Madam Mayor, so once it becomes a for sale product and you purchase one, there are some common elements. So there will be covenants and restrictions placed upon it that are a private agreement between, I guess, the association and the homeowners, which most times have restrictions for not renting for short-term rentals. That it really is a private agreement. So there is nothing other than the zoning code that would restrict short-term rentals if somebody wanted to do that. Long-term rental, 31 days or longer, there's nothing that would prohibit that.
Well, knowing how popular Las Vegas is from out-of-state ownership, I can see, and especially if it gets to the point, I know in the 60s we overbuilt apartments, but looking to the future and people purchase apartments and then turn around, it would be up to then a homeowner's configuration to put those limits, not the responsibility of the city to put in those requirements that restrict short-term rentals or anything?
Beyond short-term rentals being covered by the zoning code, the long-term rentals, yes, that restriction would be from the CCNRs.
Okay.
And the CCNRs can cover both as well. So.
Okay, I just know how we just have this intense ownership out of state, and I can see attractive apartments, I'll buy 1 or 2 or 5, and then I'll just make me some money. So, okay, thank you.
That's a valid question, Madam Mayor. That is coming up increasingly in our conversations with community, is what are we doing as a council to ensure that the homes are going to be sold to, let's say, the people who are working to make our city great, and not these sometimes not just out of state investors, but out of the country investors. And can you speak to the folks that are going to be building this and their commitment to selling it to folks who live here, work here, and play here? Because we do want these opportunities to go to our folks first.
No, we understand that, and we'll be working with your office on some programs that would stipulate that those members stay, that are purchasing, that are staying in the homes for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
So there are those opportunities to be done, as well as we can't restrict it. That has been, how you want to say, litigated before, that you can't prevent somebody from buying a home that intends to rent it out, but we will be working with ways to make sure that happens, because that's what the goal is to provide affordable housing for those members who are already searching for it.
I just think it's something looking to the future in the next 5 or 10 years, that the city staff take a deep look into every one of these complexes that's built, and we're thrilled that they're doing them, but it will come a time where they're not all purchased, or maybe they're not occupied, and I can see ownership going and renting out. So it's just something to have examined continuously, and maybe checking with homeowners, or however you do it with the builders and the main sales.
Yeah.
So I see it coming a problem in 5 years or so.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be someone's, if we stay on the same page and you guys are doing the best by our community, what we want to see is that this becomes stable housing opportunities for so many of our hardworking residents that are trying to find an opportunity to get their foot in the door and, own something versus rent something. And I think that this product will render that opportunity to so many hardworking members of our community. So I'm just going to put that out so that it starts manifesting.
I'm sorry, could I ask you one more
Yes.
thing? Does this particular unit, how many stories is it?
2 stories.
So
1-car garage.
does that, by our codes, mean it has to, 3 stories has to have elevators?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, OSHA guidelines.
Okay, OSHA would require that. Because I'm thinking wonderful for so many of our seniors who really are caught in this inflationary time with certain incomes being stabilized, and they're not able to keep. So I'm thrilled you're doing this. I just think
We will
it's
have,
great.
we do have
But
a
there are
product.
elevators, so thank you. It's an OSHA requirement.
But we do have a product with a main floor master bedroom, so that
Oh, nice.
concern doesn't. So that we have several products that'll be coming forward. But we will work with Councilwoman Diaz's office to make sure that we find ways that the majority, if not all of these homes, are sold to the families that need them.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And I just have one more question for our fine staff over there. I think Bart may know the answer to this question. The only concern, obviously, from deviating from our code for me would be the fire access and being able to get a fire engine in and out quickly, because obviously we don't ever want to bet on these episodes or events happening, but sometimes they do. And so the sizes of the street, does that allow a fire engine to come in and turn in quickly and render the aid when needed?
Well, at the risk of speaking for fire services, the streets are narrower than our normal standards. They're showing a radius of 28 feet on the internal corners, and typically we require a 30-foot radius on those internal corners. It's very close. It's possible that fire vehicle could make those curves. The fact that there's a crash gate on the closed side means that the fire services could come in or out from either side. So it's close. It doesn't exactly meet our normal standards. I'm not in fire services, so I can't specifically say that it would work, but it is reasonably close. However, from a public works standpoint, we do like our standards, and we would certainly recommend that they meet those.
Okay. That would be the only...
So through you, Madam Mayor, I can just add to that. Through the pre-application process, fire is part of that review and makes comments on the design of the tentative map. And so they have reviewed this, and it would work for it. If it didn't, there would be conditions or this would have been designed differently.
Okay.
If it becomes an after-the-fact thing, they will be back before us with an alternate design which may impact the subdivision. Also, with building code, the buildings will be fire sprinkled.
Okay. All right, that's a benefit. Okay. Mr. Lansing, thank you for answering. I apologize for putting you on the spot, Bart, but appreciate it. So I'm just excited. There's so few home ownership opportunities in our communities, starting at $300,000 that are accessible to some of my residents, and I think this is awesome too, because I think with home ownership comes pride and investment, and people also ensuring that our community and the adjacency stays on the upward trajectory. So I'm going to go ahead and move to approve agenda item 60A, B, and C with all of the conditions in the staff report.
Great, thank you.
And you
very
agree
much.
to those conditions, Mr. Christopherson?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion. Please vote and please post. Exciting, you're a busy man. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, now on to 61. Thank you for the catch. 250589, following land use entitlement project requests on .46 acres at 3270 North Buffalo Drive, C1, limited commercial zone. 61A 230589 Vieira 1 to allow 0 additional parking spaces where 9 additional spaces are required for parking impaired development. 61B 230589 Vieira 2 to allow 0-foot rear yard setback where 14 feet is required, to allow a 0-foot side yard setback where 10 feet is required, and 61C 230589 SDR1 for major amendment to an approved plot plan and building elevation review Z-0007-902 for a proposed 1,550 square foot addition to an existing 6,104 square foot single-story medical office building with waiver perimeter landscape buffer requirements. The applicant owner is LE Family Trust, LLC. The Planning Commission recommends approval. Staff recommends denial on the entire land use entitlement project. These are in Ward 4 with Councilwoman Polensky, and are public hearings, which I now declare open. Is the applicant or representative present? Look who's here.
Hello again. Good morning. Jennifer Lazovich, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, representing the applicant. This is a picture of what the doctor's office looks like today. And just as a fun fact, the owner of the building told us that this used to be a CVS, so I think that this is a very fabulous repurposing of an otherwise vacant building into this office. What has happened is, as his medical practice has grown, they really need some additional space for offices for the nurse or other medical professionals on the inside of the building to make calls to patients and not be doubled or tripled up with in one single office. So the request for the variance is to increase the building both to the east. This is an existing mini warehouse building that also sits, the back of their building sits on the property line as well, so we're not encroaching any more on them than they have encroached with their building over to the property line. And then we would also ask that a little bit here on the south side, there's I'll call it a little bit of an area that doesn't really serve any purpose, so we would bump out the building to the south and a little bit to the east, and that would gain us about 3 more offices, which on the inside will make a big difference to this medical practice. So we understand, staff did recommend denial. At the Planning Commission, I provided, it's been a little bit, but provided a bit of just a parking summary, if you will, over the course of a week. Thursdays are usually their busiest days, but this doctor works out of 3 different locations across the valley. It's not just this location. So Thursdays, again, like I said, is the busiest day. But on the other days, it's less busy, and the parking, I think, is sufficient for what they need. And again, this isn't necessarily to hire new employees, but it's to take the employees that are crammed into a couple of offices and give them their own offices. So that's really the purpose for the application and the need then for the parking variance. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to be heard on agenda item 61, 61A, B, and C? Please come forward, and simultaneously, I will turn this to planning.
Thank you, Mayor. Seth Floyd for the record. Mayor, the requested variances for insufficient on-site parking and building setbacks further reinforce the unsuitability of this site for the proposed building addition. Furthermore, no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance has been presented in that the applicant has created a self-imposed hardship. Therefore, staff's recommending denial of the project and all associated land use entitlement applications. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hearing and seeing no one, and if there are no comments or questions from us here, I will turn this over to you, Councilwoman Polensky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I have toured the facility, and they are stuffed in there like sardines. There is definitely no space for them, so I do see the need for expansion. The adjacency has no setbacks, so no one is harmed in allowing for the rear setback. I've done the last 30 days since this came from Planning Commission, I've done my own personal parking study, and I don't know what I'll do with my son on the way to school now when he yells out how many cars are in the parking lot so that I can record it in my phone. He's doing the work of the people. At no point in the last 30 days has a parking lot ever been full. And I've driven by it, just like Councilman Knutson said earlier, this is the major thoroughfare for my home. Cheyenne and Buffalo, probably 4 or 5 times a day. And no matter early morning, late afternoon, it has never been full in 30 days. So I'm going to move to approve items 61A through C, but I will repeat the caveat that I mentioned to the applicant that while his use is fine, that if he goes to sell the building and in the future the next applicant wants a more higher intensity use, I reserve my right to not be okay with that in the future.
Okay, understood.
Okay, there's a motion to approve agenda item 61A, B, and C. Please vote and please post. Well, on our monitor, there it goes. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to agenda item 62, 230590 SDR1, public hearing, applicant Las Vegas Montessori owner, Schneider Family Trust for possible action land use entitlement project request for a proposed single-story 12,900 square foot child care facility with waivers of perimeter landscape buffer requirements on 1.54 acres at the northeast corner of Horse Drive and Fort Apache Road in Ward 6 with Councilwoman Bruning. Planning Commission and staff recommend approval. This is a public hearing, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present? Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Sheldon Colin, 2525 West Horizon Ridge, representing the applicant. The project in front of you is 13,000 square foot proposed daycare facility, not a school. And what we have done in an attempt to lessen the impact on the surrounding neighbors is, per code, there's going to be an 8-foot fence around the perimeter adjacent to the residence with an intense landscape buffer, and even further around the play area that'll also have a fence around it. And also the building is designed, as you can see from the rendering, to be a little bit low of a building, so it also lessens the impact on the surrounding neighbors. And speaking of the surrounding neighbors, there are large neighborhoods behind this, which will take advantage of the great opportunity for daycare. And in addition to that, I'd like to provide staff with 10 letters of support from the surrounding neighbors.
Thank you.
And also, we'd like to thank the councilwoman and her support and help with this from the very beginning. She asked us to put a couple gates on the entrances to prevent after-hours cars, and I am here to answer any questions you may have.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And let's hear from planning, please.
Thanks, Mayor. Seth Floyd for the record. Mayor, the proposed development is designed in a manner that is compatible with the existing adjacent residential development to the north and complies with Title 19.12 minimum conditional use regulations for the individual care center use. Staff supports the landscape waiver request along the north property line in order to accommodate a required ADA accessible parking access aisle. Staff recommends approval of the site development plan review, subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to make comments on agenda item 62, please come forward and state your name. Hearing and seeing none, I will close public hearing and see if there are any questions from council. I hear nothing. It's all yours, Councilwoman Bruning.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we just broke a record because this is the second item today where both the Planning Commission and staff approves the project, so it's a good day. I am a huge fan of this project because it does address a serious need in our valley to adding more child care facilities, so thank you. And I know that the executive director, she's a military spouse and is trying to, put this site where it's located to really provide support to our military families since it's so close to Creech. So I'm really pleased with this project. I also know that it started before me, and initially there was a lot of neighborhood opposition, so I want to commend you and the entire team for working to address 99% of the neighbors' concerns. I know there were a couple of neighbors who showed up at our last neighborhood meeting, which again, you went above and beyond to add an extra neighborhood meeting, so I really appreciate all of your team's efforts to be great neighbors. And I think as a result of that neighborhood meeting, we did agree to look at the traffic 6 months after the opening of the schools. So our staff will take care of that. So again, really excited that you're here and happy to make a motion to approve item 62230590 SDR1.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Motion carries unanimously. Good luck to you. All right, we're on to agenda item 63, 230598, following land use entitlement project request on 0.93 acres at 1701 South Las Vegas Boulevard, C2 General Commercial Zone. 63A 230598 VR1 to allow a 71% lot coverage where 50% is the maximum allowed. A 0-foot front yard setback where 10 feet is required, and a 5-foot side yard setback where 10 feet is required. 63A 23B, 230598 VR2 to allow 0 parking spaces where 147 are required, and to allow 0 loading spaces where 3 are required. 63C 230598 SUP1 for a proposed 48,675 square foot alcohol on-premise full use. 63D 230598 SDR1 major amendment to an approved site development plan review 220624-SDR1 to allow a proposed refurbishment of an existing 27,260 square foot building with 2 roof decks totaling 6,998 square feet and a proposed 1,276 square foot standalone building with a 1,167 square foot roof deck. The applicant is Cameron Faladish and the owner is ProView Series LLC Series 36. Planning Commission recommends approval. Staff recommends denial on the entire land use entitlement project. These items are in Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. Public hearing hearings, which I declare open. Is the applicant present?
Good morning, Mayor and council members. My name is Adam Fulad. Address is 7980 Castle Pines Avenue. Today we're presenting for a project we already have approval for. The bulk of the project, we have added one building. I don't know if we could show what I have in front of me. What we saw was, our idea was to have breweries, bakeries, restaurants in this project. We want it to be a large upscale, so to say, food court where people can go get multiple food options, beers, coffees, pastries, so on, and commingle in a common courtyard. Common courtyard is here. What we're adding, we found that the coffee idea that we wanted to do really didn't work in one of the spaces here. We wanted people to be able to get coffee or pastries throughout the day and hang out in the courtyard, where in here it would sort of get lost. So what we added now is this building that you can see here. Go ahead, Lee. Okay, sorry. What we added is the building here. It's approximately 1,200 square feet. It has a roof deck on top of that. This way people can sit up top and below throughout the day and night. In order to answer the rest of the items, I brought the paper up here. One of the items is that there's a 0-foot setback. There is a 17-foot right-of-way, which we think is plenty. And if you are to go to Oki, you'll be able to see that all the buildings on Oki are built to that right-of-way. So for this to be the only building that gets a setback, that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't really work in harmony with the rest of the block. Regarding parking, we have added 3 parking stalls for rideshare, so those will be on the plan. It's included on the plan. It would be in this general area. It's not depicted on the plan I brought, but there is 3 parking stalls for rideshare, so people can get dropped off, exit, and then leave. And then the last item regarding the on-premise full-use alcohol permit, that just goes with us trying to bring breweries, restaurants, and so on to the property. Hopefully that answered all your questions, and if you have any, I'm here to answer.
All I can tell you from my perspective, when I saw no parking and where 147 are required, and then I looked up at the name, and you never disappoint us. So as shocked as I was at this, I thought, well, if anybody can do it, but where are these people who are going to come here? Where are they going to park?
So I actually did a project, Commerce in Wyoming, that I presented, and on that one I did a traffic impact analysis. I also showed how many parking structures and lots are within the area. My dad has one. He presented my last 2 projects, so now I'm presenting his. But one of the projects we have on Commerce in Wyoming, I brought up that he has a parking lot at the corner of Main and Oki, directly down the street from this. There's only 3 cars there throughout the day, and all 3 are limos. So we have plenty of parking within the area, especially the city. One of the projects I believe may have came up today was the lot on Utah Casino Center is 5 stories, 7 stories. I don't know the exact number now, but that's going to be a lot of parking for the area. What we're trying to promote is people to come and drink, have fun, hang out. We don't want those same people coming with cars, drinking, and then getting in their car and going home. So it doesn't really go with what we're trying to do. So to add to that, though, we did the 3 rideshare parking stalls. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question.
Okay.
Good morning, Mayor and Councilwoman and Councilman. My name is Cameron Foulard from ProView Series, 2200 Las Vegas Boulevard, 2211 Las Vegas Boulevard. The project is been approved, and we found out that the section of the property is just sitting and is not combining all the tenants and the sitting area. So we added a 1,200 square feet rooftop, which is going to be bakery and coffee shops and so forth. The building is, regarding a setback, right now 7-Eleven has built a Trojan horse front of this property. It's literally is hidden. So the reason we are expanding and we are giving a 0 setback to bring it to the point that at least is visible from Las Vegas Boulevard. Even though it has 0 setback, we have 17 feet right-of-way, sidewalk, right-of-way, and so forth. And all along, as Adam said, all along Oki, including our monument sign, is right behind, which is grandfathered in many years ago was built, is right at behind the sidewalk, 6 feet sidewalk. And all the structures along the Oki is all behind the sidewalk. So ours is 17 feet away from the curb. So, what other issues was it? And the parking is right across the street is a parking that is rented to the city. Is only 3 cars parked during the day. The income varies from $80 to $120 a month. So the parking is there, which can complement this property. They can park across the street and walk to this property. The reason we didn't put parking, we want to have outside sitting. We don't want to have a car coming with a bad muffler and ruin the atmosphere. It's very friendly area, project. It's going to be lots of sitting area outside, and it's going to be changing the entire neighborhood. Regarding loading, we have a back door loading in the alley, which was recommended by the city in order to have a traffic going through, since the area is very rough and lots of people
The homeless used to
bring down the
camp there,
neighborhood.
so that's
They
very
sit
good.
down and behind the
Right.
building is very rough. We have problem with homeless and so forth.
Yeah.
So having traffic in the alley would be to our benefit, or the area's benefit.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to planning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Peter Lowenstein for the record. While the proposed development would be an improvement from the existing blighting and vacant buildings, staff find activating the subject site with such uses as restaurants and bars with 0 on-site parking or available parking within the immediate area would have a detrimental impact on the surrounding residential neighborhoods. Furthermore, the applicants propose to exacerbate the overall development of the subject site with a second standalone building. Therefore, staff is recommending denial of all the requested entitlements. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the public? This is a public hearing item. Anyone wishing to make comment or add questions? Please come forward and state your name for the record.
Hi.
Good morning.
David Gomez for the record, Nevada Peace Alliance president. I just want to say, living in the east side of Las Vegas is rough enough as it is. My office is located on Eastern, on a street that everybody thinks that it's a Fast and Furious, and I've seen too many people hit the barricade wall that bends around going to Fremont Street between Stewart and there. We don't need no more alcohol places over there. I'm sorry. Because everybody uses our street to get to the freeway, and they get over there and they drive extremely crazy. I've seen too many accidents. I've seen too many things. Coffee shop and things like that, I'm for it, because neighborhoods, they need those type of things. They need community engagement where people have somewhere to go to sit down and have coffee, not in a small area, and they can make bigger meeting areas and stuff like that. But more alcohol, we have enough on Fremont Street. We have enough 7-Elevens. We have Stewart Market. We have so many markets over there that have alcohol everywhere. And we don't need everybody getting drunk, trying to figure out how to go into a neighborhood and where they're parking or wherever they're doing. It doesn't matter. That's their own prerogative on how they want to deal with those type of situations as an alcoholic, or they like to drink socially. Who knows? But my comment is, because we have so many schools in that area, we don't need no more alcohol establishments in our area. We have enough, and we can get it at Cardina's, Mariana's. We can get it anywhere, So there's enough there if anybody needs some alcohol. But something like this, I can see a potential problem in the future for the neighborhood, the neighbors, and me as a business owner. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming down. Anyone else wishing to make comment? Okay, I'll close the public comment period, and then any comments, questions here, Councilman, please.
Thank you. I'm kind of confused. Didn't a couple of years ago we approved something on this exact same site? Were you guys the developers of that?
No,
And
it was us. It was, so the project has been approved. I'm going to go back. This project is approved.
The major portion of the project.
We're just trying to add something here to tie in the rest of it. So what I had brought up was, we wanted to, let's say, coffee and pastries, to have it be right here, and let's say the rest of them might not be open throughout the day. We wanted something that could tie in the lot. So this, they might be able to do coffee, they might be able to do pastries, they might be
For deviation from parking.
But was it 195, was the variance 195 spots?
It was less than that because they're adding additional square footage at this point. So they are intensifying that variance and now are asking for the parking variance once again.
But there was some parking that was approved with the original project, and now you guys are adding additional amenities, which is going to take up all of the parking.
It was 21 parking stalls.
So it got approved with one parking spot?
21.
21 parking spots?
Yes.
Okay. And so now you're saying that you're going to get rid of all parking and there's no loading here? Zero loading spaces?
I'm sorry?
It says in here, variance is hereby approved to allow 0 parking spaces where 195 are required and to allow 0 loading spaces where 3 are required. So you don't have any loading spaces?
We have 3. When you say loading, is it share, drop-off?
Well, loading. Well,
I mean,
loading.
Is it loading for people or loading for, like, let's say, food and stuff for the businesses?
Boxes.
In terms of, so I'll answer both. For loading for the businesses will be in the alley, and that's something that we discussed with the city, so that in the back of, they prefer in the back of the units, the trucks would come through, load, and then drive off. For loading within the property, we do have 3 loading, and I think that's what it requires, or asked for here. 3 are required. We do have 3.
3 ride shares.
Which will be for ride share. Let's say my friend is dropping me off. It's for people to come in, pick you up, cab, whoever it may be. There will be 3.
Yeah. Look, it's a beautiful project, and you guys do beautiful work. I don't understand how, though, there is 0 parking for anybody. Like, there's...
Exactly.
And look, I used to go to school down there. I used to travel down Oakey and Las Vegas every day, and going to Lovett's and going to that whole area, Odyssey Record Store. So I'm very familiar with the area, and there's no parking basically now. If you go to across the street to the wedding store, if you go to the fish place, I mean, it's just not, it's not a lot of parking. So I'm just trying to understand, where are they going to park at the Strat?
Across the street.
Across the street where?
Oakey and Main.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Oakey and Main.
So where at Oakey and Main? I'm trying to picture that in my head.
It's a block. This is at the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard.
The White Cross Drugs used to be on Oakey and Main.
Directly across the street from the White Cross Drugs is a parking lot that they can park at and walk.
That you guys own?
That we own.
Okay, and you're going to turn that into a parking lot?
It's a parking right now.
There is a parking lot there now. How big is that? I don't remember. I think is that a small one?
It's a 0.68 acre.
And is that occupied? Is that utilized now? Does
It's
anybody
empty
know?
right now, Councilman.
Because that also, I know there's parking, there's issues with parking at the cigar bar behind it and the wine bar. There's no place to park. You've obviously on Main, the culinary union owns the big lot on Oakey and Main, that big lot, which culinary owns, which I don't think they have they aren't any interest to do anything with that for parking. I mean, I understand, I love the project, it's beautiful. I just don't know where people are going to park. And that's a huge issue, and that's something we have to take into consideration.
This is in the downtown Centennial.
Sure.
Doesn't require any parking.
Well, it requires 195 spots.
If it wasn't in the downtown Centennial, it would. But since the downtown center doesn't require parking, number one. Number two, there are parking across the street, which is right now empty, and their parking structure going to get built, 7-story. It's about less than a mile away from this project. And the entire art district, which is part of it, doesn't have any parking. That's why the city is building parking structure. None of the businesses have parking, Councilman.
Well, no. I mean, some businesses do have some parking. Like if you're on Main Street, if you go further north on Main Street, go on Brewery Row, we've converted some areas into parking spaces. There are plans to do some things, but where you are, there is literally no place to park. And I'm not trying to belabor this. I'm just trying to understand exactly.
I think next to the old Korean restaurant.
Behind there?
There's asphalt already paved and striped that is parking. But I have no idea, isn't that a combined city property? The old on, that would be
Yeah.
Oki going up right from where you said the White House.
Yeah, right there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just.
White Cross trucks, but there is parking there. It's a flat lot. Who knows what the future is going to hold for it.
And this-
At this time, there is parking available. And where the old supermarket was, that's fenced. Who knows what's happening there, too.
And the main reason we took the parking away, the project totally changed. Before it was retail, and we could fit 21 stalls, which wasn't really adequate enough. It wasn't enough to cater to the entire businesses. One thing that we decided to do to create that was Adam's idea, to have something that is very popular in Europe, is a hangout area that people come. They have many choices to pick any type of food. It's going to be restaurants, many different type of restaurants, and brewery. So if a car comes in, it doesn't go with the atmosphere of what we want to create. Sitting area, no parking, sitting area. We are calling this a campus. So it wouldn't go together. It would ruin the idea that we have.
I do want to clarify, there is parking, though, there within the area. And I understand maybe it's not directly on the property, but if you go to anywhere in the Arts District, it's not that the parking is in front of the property, it's you park and you walk. Because we're trying to push a walking atmosphere, ride your bike, walk, take the buses and so on within downtown. So down on Oki, there is that large parking structure, it's 0.6 of an acre. And then if you go down Casino Center, another block, that's where the city, I don't know if it didn't come up today, but I thought I saw the postcard come in regarding the parking structure that the city wants to do. That's within walking distance as well. So what we don't want to do is basically do a project that doesn't do a service for the area, because this is not going to be, it's not going to pull people in. What we don't want to do is, it's either we build it right or we don't do it at all. So where we're at with it now is, if we build it the wrong way, no one's going to go to the place behind the 7-Eleven on Oki. I don't want to put the area down, but it's a little bit dead. There's no one walking over there. Levitt Custards, there's more people doing drugs in the alley around there than there are actual patrons. I mean, throughout the day and night, we have to call Metro, hey, can you come move these people along? So what we want to do is make this an attraction. But the attraction is going to feed off of the Arts District. So if someone's going to Brewery Row, there's plenty of parking. There's the parking structure the city wants to do. There's the one on Oki. There's the one, I have one as well on Casino Center. There's many. And I've seen the rent on mine on Casino Center plummet. It's less than half of what it used to be. But I still keep it for the city. It doesn't even make sense, the numbers it makes. But the city wants to keep pushing parking. We don't need that much more parking. We need people. So our goal is to try and bring more people down. But once they park, you start walking. That's the goal of Arts District.
Yeah, we also have the Atomic Golf, which is going to be opening up pretty soon too, which is right at the Strat. I'm not sure if
You know what I'm going to do, if I may, Councilman? I'm going to ask our city manager, former head of Public Works. You know the area so well because you've been dealing with the public parking in the area, so maybe you can bring closure to that.
Yes, Mayor Goodman, Mike Jensen for the record, City Manager. I have my aerial up, and just to kind of give by way of description of where Cameron's project is, exactly 1 block to the west, we are managing through our parking enforcement team about an 80 to 85 space surface lot that we are managing for the Foulades. And that is a lot that we put in early, but as Mr. Foulade mentioned, that lot hasn't yet developed the demand because the projects immediately around it haven't come out yet. So a project like this will be a project's trip generation that will most likely go to that surface lot. Additionally, we did have an agenda item today for the rezoning of our parcel that we bought exactly 2 blocks north, right at Utah and Casino Center, where we're going to be putting in close to a 500-space parking garage. And then last but not least, we're just about complete with a $7 or $8 million project on Casino Center, which is Casino Center intersects Oki, about a half a block west of this project. And on the entire stretch of Casino Center, we've added angle parking on one side of the street and parallel on the other. So we recognize that there's a lot of demand coming to this area, but it's projects like Mr. Foulade's that is part of the reason why we've been programming that garage and why we've been trying to enter into agreements with property owners for some additional surface lots. Like you said, Councilman, the Atomic Golf is supposed to open in a couple of weeks. They're probably about 300 feet to the south of this project. And I know from talking with Cameron, the goal of this project is to leverage all of the tourists that are walking along Las Vegas Boulevard and get them to where today they come up to the Showgirls. They might start walking a little bit further north, but then they don't really see a project of attraction. And the intent you'll see in his renderings with the large brewery facilities on the roof is that they will want to explore a little bit further north and walk to this site. So I think the concept that we've envisioned for this project, this redevelopment from Cameron, is a largely leverage the walking trips from tourists, but also we're getting so much walking in the Arts District as well. And quite honestly, that's the success of the Arts District, is we're seeing so much walking.
But you have also paved and striped the northeast corner of Main and Oki.
Correct, Mayor.
And
that's
how
the lot
many
that
does
we entered into.
That's the one
Yeah.
that's closest to you, and it's adjacent to where the old Korean restaurant was, and just north of the grocery store that was there with White Cross Drugs. So you're in the right area, but that is already usable, striped, and asphalted.
Yeah. And as of today, that's a lot that we put in a little bit early, again, to get a lot in place before the demand got there. And so I think this project will help us see that lot become a valuable amenity. As Cameron pointed out, right now today there's 3 or 4 limos that like to park there as a staging point for a lot of the wedding chapels, things of that nature. But the actual demand of that lot hasn't yet been met because some of the surrounding projects just haven't come out of the ground yet.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Thank you. No, the parking is a huge problem, and everybody wants it, but you're fine. I really think with what you're trying to do, I just hope you get the culinary corner next.
God willing.
Continue on with the themes and the intimacy of being able to enjoy different things, and of course, we always want to preserve our custard, our Lovets. So.
This project going to change the area. The area is very bad. The mayor is aware of the area. The area is nothing but infested with the
We're all very aware of the area.
and homeless.
Yeah.
And the first project that changed Casino Center was mine. And everybody thought I lost my marble, including my wife, when I started Casino Center project. And now look at the Casino Center. We can't find any lot for ourselves. It's all bought up and developed. And this is going to do the same thing to the area. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I can't forget, I can't remember where. I think I closed public hearing. So we're all fine. Councilman, did you have a comment?
I think it was addressed by the city manager.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, City Manager. Back to you, Councilwoman Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I didn't know there was going to be this much dialogue on my agenda item, but I'm so thankful first for the Foulades staying the course, because you had to go through all the motions and every single item before we heard yours. I just want to say that, one, they voluntarily did a neighborhood meeting. It wasn't something that they had to do, but they were so gracious to then meet with the neighbors so that they could answer their questions about this project. First, I also want to make clear, because in the public comment, it was alluded to about schools. There really aren't schools in this adjacency. This is completely on Las Vegas Boulevard. So there are no schools in the adjacency. This is an area of the boulevard that I've been just praying, harping, stressing how important it is to our economic and urban development team to get things synergizing and going, because it's a stretch of the Las Vegas Boulevard. Once you head north on it into our downtown, that really needs some major investment, revitalization, and more projects coming. So when the Foulades come and tell me you're going to do something where it's much needed, this is a shot in the arm for that stretch of missing assets, missing things. Right now we don't have much for our tourists who are coming and going between the Strat to our arts district. And I love this concept. I love, one, that the parking will be removed, so hopefully people are Ubering and Lyfting and ride-sharing and designated drivering so that they're dropped off, and then somebody that's not going to drink can park and then walk themselves back to enjoy a good bite, a good brew. Also, I wanted to shed light that I recently spoke to some of the pioneers in the brewing business in the Arts District, and they were speaking of cities that have over 200 brew pubs in close proximity to each other. And these are cities that are coveted, that people want to visit, San Diego and other places, and Washington and the like. And I think that we are still thirsty for seeing our share of brew houses, because it's something that a lot of people covet and want to visit when they come into town. And I think that we should not want more of these offerings. And just to give all of you perspective, because I know we know the Foulades, I know the mayor knows the Foulades work, I know the council knows the Foulade works, but Talcotarian, Casino Center, California, they brought that to life, that whole corridor right there in the Arts District. Huddle and Nevada Brew Works, if you visit that was brought by the Foulade. So these are men that know how to do it right, and I have full confidence that they're going to get it right in this space as well. And for the reasons that our city manager mentioned in terms of the parking that will be available to folks, I have no qualms about that surface lot that exists currently with 80 plus spaces, and then the upcoming garage that's going to be offering 500 spaces. And I just know that my neighbors are chomping at the bit for them to activate and start working on this, because vacant properties breed a lot of problems for not just the property owner, but the adjacent neighborhoods. And so I think that just taking ownership of this, developing it, making it activated is just going to yield so many amazing results for us. So I'm just saying thank you, gentlemen, for undertaking. I know this has not been an easy project to make work for you. I know the mayor and I have been in conversations, our city manager, trying to be as helpful as we can, because this is something that we really feel would be an amazing place for our neighbors and tourists to come and visit and frequent. So with that, I'm going to move to approve agenda items 63A, B, C, and D. Just turning to planning staff, are there conditions that I also need to make sure I enter into the record? Okay, so that's my motion. Move to approve agenda item 63A, B, C, and D.
Thank you, Councilor, and thank you, Adam and Cameron. And I can't vote. It won't let me. I'm a yes. There we go. Done. Thank you.
Thank you all. Our success is because of you guys. Every time we get compliment, we say we cannot do anything in this town except your support. And what we have done has changed the neighborhoods. And God willing, we keep doing it. Thank you very much for your support.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
We look forward to your next project. Thank you very much. Okay, we will now move on to agenda item 64. I'd ask the city clerk to set the public hearing dates and appeals from the City Planning Commission meetings, dangerous buildings, or nuisance litter abatements, please.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we will go to our final citizen participation. This is agenda item 65, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the city council. No subject may be acted upon by the council unless the subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. It is your opportunity to address council, but council is not able to respond or engage in dialogue. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda? And thank you, Mr. Gomez. Your comments were well heard, though. I want you to know
it's
that.
okay. I mean, we're at City of Las Vegas, you know? You can agree to disagree at times.
No, right. Oh, you best say your name even though I
I'm
said
sorry.
it.
Sorry, Mayor Goodman. David Gomez, Nevada Peace Alliance President, resident of East Las Vegas on Walnut Avenue. Former president of Wake Up with Mars Ave. Lewis, former deputy director of LULAC for education before they got in trouble here. Also recognized and acknowledged by Rosa Parks before she passed away and put me on the wall of tolerance in the civil rights movement hall in Montgomery, Alabama.
Wow.
So, and a father of 7 children.
Woo!
I got a
You're
lot.
going to work for a
Yeah.
long, long time.
A very long time. So, you know, I like to visit the Smith Center. You know, I like to go there. It's beautiful. It's nice there. I mean, I love taking my kids there to the museum. I love taking...
Oh, sorry, 3 minutes would do that.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, please.
And I like taking my kids there. Like they like to go see the Nutcracker and things like that. But my biggest gripe is that every time we go to the park over there, there's always some poop on the floor and on the grass. So I talked to some of the security officers there, and I said, hey, how come there's poop on the grass if we don't have no dogs in the Smith Center? What's going on? And they said, well, where did you see it? And I said, well, my kids sat on the grass and some stuff is on their pants, so now we have to take them home. And he says, well, it's the neighbors here that owns this complex it's a apartment there, or condos, and they bring their dogs over there and they defecate and urinate on the grass. And I'm like, well, why isn't anyone stopping them? He goes, well, we are. We're here to deter, and we're here to make sure that these things don't happen. He goes, but we can't catch every single incident. And I said, I understand that. So after speaking with them, you know, I really took into consideration that there needs to be something in place that prevents them from leaving that stuff on the grass. Not only does it hurt the grass, you know, nobody wants to sit on that stuff. I mean, you get like little brown spots in some areas where the dogs urinate. And don't get me wrong, I love dogs. I have my own dogs. I have a Schnauzer that I paid $5,000 for. And I had to potty train this dog, and I had to make sure that the dog knew where the spots were and how to identify what to do, where they need to do it at. You know, my dog scratches on my leg and say, hey, I need to go to the restroom. I'm like, okay, let's go to the restroom. You know, I know what to do. But sometimes some of these guys just leave the stuff there. And, you know, I want to take my kids there more times than often, but it's just... At times, you know, I don't want them sitting in the grass. I don't want to take them and say, hey, let's have a picnic over here. Let's do this, let's do that. And then, you know, there's stuff on the grass. So maybe someone can address this issue more severely. Maybe issue a fine to the apartments and say, hey, you know what? If your tenants come over here and do this, we're going to charge you for the cleanup. We're going to charge you for this. We're going to charge you for that. And we might even, you know, tell your tenants you can't bring the animals on the grass. I'm sorry. But I love my dog, and I love my dog when it runs and goes crazy in the grass where it's supposed to be at the dog park. But I understand that it's there, and it's, you know, something has to be addressed. And that's the reason I came, because I didn't like my kids sitting on poo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We do have signage. I've just asked Councilman Creer, and we do have signage, but we can do little more. So whether
Thank you,
it's
Mayor
speaking
Goodman.
with the apartments. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard, please come forward. But apropos of Mr. Gomez's comments, while this gentleman's coming up, we find people in our neighborhood, and our front yard has dogs on it all the time. So we try to stay ahead of it, but it's ongoing. Thank you. And your name, sir, please.
Hello, my name is John Wong, and this is the first time I've been to the city council meeting. It's very, very impressive. I moved here from Los Angeles area about 3 years ago, and I actually came down here to watch the confirmation on the Wayne Bunker project. I got late as a result. I'm assuming it actually went forward.
No,
or didn't.
It's been referred back to planning.
Oh, okay. But I did have an opportunity when this was being discussed up in the Summerlin area to meet Councilwoman Bruin the prior weekend. And we were just chatting about the area which I live in, which is actually, I guess it's Ward 5, near Lorenzi Park. Oh, nice to meet you. So I moved into Lorenzi Park and bought a house over there. I really like it quite a bit. I live across from the golf course. And I look at Lorenzi and just think it's a remarkable asset the city has, and just needs a little bit of tweaking here and there to bring it back. One thing I did have a chance to talk to Nancy Bruin about was pickleball over in that particular area. Just from the standpoint that right now there are great facilities up in the Summerlin area. There's great facilities down in the Henderson area, the Sunset Park, and the Durango Hills. And there's more demand coming, but they're pretty well taken care of in a lot of ways right now. But in the center of the city itself, toward the west side, toward the Decatur area where Chinatown is, or even just downtown, I always thought that Lorenzi Park, in the time that I've walked around and seen the lake, et cetera, offers a valuable resource. And I just wondered, has that been discussed, whether or not pickleball could be brought to Lorenzi Park?
So just FYI, we normally don't respond, but just FYI, to public comment, we don't go back and forth, but we do have plans to add additional tennis courts at Lorenzi, as well as a new pro shop there, and as well as pickleball courts.
Oh, okay, great. I noticed the other day that right next to the basketball courts, there's actually a concrete hockey rink that had been put together by, I guess, the city and the Golden Knights.
Correct.
And the space there is actually, it looks like it's fully level and ready to be asphalted into a facility which could accommodate probably 5 to 6 pickleball courts.
Right.
With a pro shop.
Well, as Councilman just said, it is on the planning, so your point's well taken, even though we're not supposed to go into dialogue at this point.
Okay.
But it is, and we appreciate your coming down.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Good to hear.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please come on down, state your name for the record.
I guess I come in here for a meeting at the city.
Okay, can you get in front of a microphone?
I'm sorry.
We can't hear you. And your name, sir, please.
Hi, how are you? My name is Saif, and I live in Henderson, 2616 Frontier Road. I'm here for a meeting for Rancho Liquor. They say the council meeting right here. That's what they send me. And I've been here since 9 a.m.
Ms. Campbell will help you right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And your name for the record, too, please.
Hello, I'm Caroline Southville. I live in McNeil on Carly Drive. I arrived late for item 56, so I stayed. I know you're not going to answer, but for me, the construction, I think, is not progress. If we are creating more issues, I don't see how it can be progress. We are working on Rancho right now to make it better, to make less dangerous, shrinking the lines, and now you're going to add more traffic. I mean, it feels like we're going backward instead of forward. So unless maybe we can show, you can show us what would be the infrastructure progress. Would it be more lanes, which we are doing the opposite? Would it be more public transportation to help? I don't know. Right now, I don't see how this is going to help the problem. What about buildings infrastructure and after growing the area? That to me is progress. So anyway, and if we are talking about building so you can have more better rent or more people able to move in this area, I get it, but it seems pretty congested already. What about developing some other area who are not as lucky as we are in this part of the city? Maybe they need more rental there. Maybe they can be helped there. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you from Canada or France? And are you part of Cirque du Soleil?
No, I just moved here.
Well, welcome to Las Vegas. You'll enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? I'm going to close public hearing then, and we will move on to emerging issues. This is agenda item 66, discussion regarding potential items for future city council agendas. Are there any future agenda items? Yes, please, Councilwoman Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know that the county recently spoke to this issue. It's a shared pain point for both jurisdictions. So the county has set up a copper wire theft task force, and I just want to make sure that we are a part of this task force and that we are sending folks from the city to the meetings and coming up with ways that we can fight back in this area, because it is, I know that we have a long way to go to deter the activity, but meanwhile, a lot of our residents go without appropriate lighting in the streets to keep them safe. And so I'm just making sure that every angle that we can fight this and combat this, that we're part of the conversation.
Even during the days of our former city manager, we have been party to a unified area look into it, because that's why Crazy Horse 2 is gone, all the copper wire theft there, and it's been an ongoing problem for at least 7-8 years that we have been heavily involved in. But as an emerging issue, did you want that a presentation or a discussion?
I will let the city manager speak to what he thinks would be most conducive for us getting the updates and us to know what next actionable items we can be speaking to in this vein.
And as well with North Las Vegas, because I know we did work with them as well, so it's catching us all up to date as history is somewhat lost as new people come in.
Mayor, good member, City Council, Mike Jensen, City Manager for the record. Every one of you has a case of copper wire theft in your ward. Yep. It is not just in the city of Las Vegas, it's in every part of Clark County. So to your point, Councilwoman Diaz, she, as you alluded to, the county is establishing a task force, and every municipality in Southern Nevada is going to be a part of it. So what I'd like to do is work with our DPS team and Public Works team and bring you back in a council briefing a snapshot of where we are. I've seen some early data that shows the trend has grown in relation to the price of copper, and that's what we've seen over the years. So I'll bring back to council in a briefing just kind of what our statistics look like, and then some of the strategies that we're working on. We're going to leverage the strategy that was used when we had all the catalytic converter thefts. There was a Senate bill passed last session that now makes it illegal for an individual to sell catalytic converters. We'll be looking at the method used for that particular issue to see if there can be a crossover application as it relates to copper wire theft. So that's my commitment to you, is that we'll give you a good update and let you know where we're headed.
And then if you would add with that, I know we've been using, or I may have the wrong metal, but I thought aluminum's being used in place of copper. I mean, this has been ongoing, so it is an information piece that needs to be revisited. So thank you. And Councilwoman Bruni.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it was about a year ago that we built up our grants team, and so I was wondering if we could have a report on federal grants performance, just an update on where we're at, please.
Ooh, great. Yeah, that was one of Mr. Jansen's specialties when we had the RTC and flood and everything. He was always ready right away because they already had applied for the grant, and he was ready to go shovel in the ground and get work done for the city. So that's a great report on what's out there and what's happening. Any other emerging issues, perhaps? No? Okay, so our final is Or time to talk to everybody. Council member recognition made by individual city council members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by city council unless the subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. We're going to start with Councilwoman Bruni.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to everyone who participated in today's meeting.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's Councilman Zeman.
There we go.
Thanks for noticing that. Last week, we held our annual senior safety event during Heart Awareness Month at our Active Adult Center. Thank you to Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Fire Inspector Melanie Denon and Metro's Crime Prevention Specialist Heidi Strife for giving our seniors some great information about heart health and crime prevention strategies. Last week, I participated along with Leah Williams and Tabitha Peterson and Tiffany Tyler Garner in the Disconnected Youth Convening sponsored by Workforce Connections, which brought together dozens of stakeholders to explore ways to strengthen strategies and collaborations with the goal of connecting our disconnected youth. As a reminder, we have 42,000 youth in Southern Nevada who are not in school and are not working. Our disconnected youth rate in Nevada is one of the highest in the country. Last week, we were proud to attend the Creech Air Force Base's 432nd Wing Annual Awards Ceremony. It was inspiring to see so many of our young men and women in uniform receive recognition for their outstanding work and leadership. The evening underscored for me the fact that Creech Air Force Base is indeed a crown jewel in our nation's national security assets. Colonel Peterson shared that the national security leaders have identified 5 global hotspots around the world, and the 432nd Wing is the only wing that has a presence in all 5 of those hotspots. So I'm very proud that Creech Air Force Base is in Southern Nevada. I'm so proud, too, that many of our Creech and Nellis Air Force Base servicemen and women call Ward 6 home. I'm excited that today we approved a new child care facility that will help meet the demand for child care among our military families, and I'm committed to ensuring that we get military housing at our Upper Las Vegas Wash project. Thanks again to Councilwoman Alan Polensky for co-hosting our first Love for All pickleball tournament. Fun was had by all, and everyone is looking forward to doing this again next year. It was a highlight to meet John Sloan, who is Sandy Foley's father and considered the father of pickleball here in Southern Nevada. Yesterday, I was pleased to attend the grand opening of Entravision's new facility. Entravision is a division of Univision, and they're expanding their daily news programming in Spanish here and up in Reno. We are super excited to announce that the farmers markets at Floydland Park will be returning. The farmers markets will be held every second and fourth Sunday of the month from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. starting on March 10th. Mark your calendars. On Saturday, March 16th, we'll be hosting the Animaniacs in concert at the Centennial Hills Park Amphitheater starting at 7 p.m. If you're looking for a place to shred your tax documents, come to our shredding event on March 2nd from 10 a.m. to noon at the Centennial Hills Y. And finally, this March we'll be hosting our monthly Bocaditos on March 14th from 9 to 11 a.m. at our satellite office at the Centennial Hills Y. As always, we want to hear from you, so please email us at ward6@lasvegasnevada.gov or give us a call at 702-229-5463. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Polensky. Now, I want to hear an announcement that the two of you have joined together for the Plaza Pickleball Tournament this weekend.
How did it end?
I'm betting on you both.
Okay, well, as long as it works for the calendar, I'm in. I've taken the lessons. Let's do it. Last Saturday, Councilwoman Bruni and I co-hosted the Love for All Pickleball Tournament at Durango Hills YMCA. The event was a tremendous success with full courts and tons of people taking advantage of the clinic that provides the how to learn to play. A huge shout out to Sandy Foley, Pat O'Mara, Christy Garnis, and the whole city team. You all did an awesome job pulling this event together seamlessly, and we definitely couldn't do it without you all. And you asked who won, Councilwoman Diaz, in the Bruni-Polensky standoff. in Ward 4. It ended in a tie because my husband's Achilles tendon tore in the middle of the game. So we go into surgery on Friday, and spirits are high at the Polinsky household because we understand timeline and whatnot. So it's definitely like kissing your sister. Tie. Next slide. Please join the Las Vegas Metro Police Department and our City Public Works team and code enforcement departments and myself for First Tuesday on Tuesday, March 5th at the Starbright Theater in Sun City, Summerlin. Doors open at 5 p.m. and the meeting will begin promptly at 5:30. Come out and get some great information and ask any questions you might have. And next up, I'll host my next shredding event in Sun City on Saturday, March 16th from 10 a.m. to 12 at Mountain Shadows Clubhouse parking lot located at 9107 Del Webb Boulevard. Please remember to remove all metal clips, staples, and batteries before dropping off your boxes. Next, from February 26th through June 16th, the Durango Hills YMCA, located at 3521 North Durango Drive, is offering heart health monitoring. 1 in 3 American adults has high blood pressure, so invest in your health and take advantage of this free screening. The next slide features the names and faces of 12 children reported missing in Las Vegas in 2023 and 2024. If you have any information, please call Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's missing person detail at 702-828-3111. And lastly, please stay connected with my staff and myself on social media platforms or contact us directly at 702-229-2524. We're always here to provide any assistance that we can. Thanks.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Seaman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So it was a privilege to sponsor a free wheelchair giveaway event with the Nevada Wheelchair Foundation in Ward 2 to help those needing assistance. Next slide. We had another great breakfast buzz in Ward 2 Biz, so if you haven't come to meet with our marshals and Metro for questions, please do. I joined the Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada to tour their expanded facility and deliver meals in Ward 2 with them. If you haven't gone on this tour, I'm going to urge my other council members, it's amazing to see how much good they do for people who are unable to go out and get food or cook for themselves. It really, really is a great program, and they also have food for their pets. This was certainly the year of the dragon. I spent a whole week at events for the Lunar New Year, and it was just great events by CNY. It was also great to join Councilwoman Diaz at the Spring Festival Desert Parade. That was another amazing event. And then the Vietnamese Tet Festival. I just love Asian holidays. They go on forever. So I was also grateful to present a proclamation at the Sober Bowl, which took place on the day of the Super Bowl. Yeah. It was great presenting with my colleague Councilman Creer on our homeless facilities. And it was great to recognize the Tarkanian Basketball Academy. I think it's their 15th year. And I got to see former Councilwoman Tarkanian, who is just amazing. Dog Junkies Thrift Store fundraiser. We had a great time, and I urge everyone who has extra stuff laying around that they can donate to the store. And they absolutely do so much good for animals in the community. They pay for a lot of the medical for these rescues, so I urge people to support them. I also did a tour for Shine a Light at their facility, and just grateful for all these charities and 501(c)(3)s around our city who do so much good in the community. Our next Breakfast Buzz is going to be March 2nd at the Veterans Memorial. We have a pet adoption March 17th from 11 to 4 at Bruce Trent Park. We're joining with 3 Dog Bakery, and we also have our next human trafficking prevention event at Fervent Church, March 7th at 5:30 p.m. And I urge everyone to go because good information from Metro. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, Councilwoman Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So first I want to send healing vibes to Mr. Polensky. So sorry that he went to the line of duty and backing his fearless wife in the pickleball challenge and then had to sustain such a hard injury because it's a long recovery time. So know that we're here sending you healing vibes. And I just want to wish a happy 13th birthday to my son. He's officially a teen. So I don't know what that's going to look like for me, but the mayor says the future's not looking good for me as a mom of a teen.
Down on your knees and pray from here on out.
All right. We've been up to a lot of busy things in the ward, especially sharing our love with our seniors. Once again, we went to the Golden Rule senior apartment complex right before Valentine's holiday, and we wanted to share more cheer and continue to give them those coveted calendars that they're not finding in their local pharmacies anymore. So super happy that I'm able to fulfill a need that is hard to come by these days. So that was fun. On February 8th, we also had the pleasure to have participated with the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. They had their Latinas in Business event at the Red Rock Casino, and it was awesome to see so many amazing folks like Mari Carmen Ruiz, who is currently the incoming president of NAREP. So I really appreciated that invitation. On February 14th, I finally was able to tour the water pollution control facility, but then I was questioning my staff's judgment that we did it on Valentine's Day. So those of you that have taken this tour know what I'm talking about. There's all kinds of interesting odors that come from a water pollution control facility, but it was very awesome and eye-opening for our team to see how much water we treat for our city on a daily basis. Want to give a special thanks to Director Joey Paskey, Charles Trushell, and Daniel Combs, who were our tour guides, and they parted ways from some of the festivities they had going on. I think they had a chili dog contest, and I was like, that's the place to go next Valentine's Day. I'm going to the water pollution control facility, but not on a tour. I'm going to go sample the chili. On Saturday, February 17th, we had an amazing event with the Animal Foundation. I want to thank everyone who partook and joined us and brought out their dogs and cats to get vaccinated. So 191 animals were vaccinated, 188 dogs, 3 cats. And the reason why 89101 was selected as a zip code is because of its high incidence of parvo exposure that we were seeing. And we really wanted to bring the cure and the remedy to where it was most needed. So it was so awesome to see so many of the pet owners come with their pets and their dogs, and it was just amazing. Great conversations with everyone. But again, we wouldn't have been able to do it without the amazing staff at the Animal Foundation who really identified this need and said we need to do something about it. And I'm just so thankful our neighbors turned out and got the line of defense for our furry friends. Also on the 17th, I was able to partake in the Chinese New Year in the Desert Parade along Fremont East Entertainment District, and it was awesome to see the dragon dances and all of the kiddos and cheerleaders. I mean, there was a little bit of everything that came and had their own entry, and it was just so great to see Derek and Janny from the Chinese New Year Delegation Committee hosting this again in fabulous Ward 3. Just wanted to put a plug for our Micro Business Summit. It's calling all entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and future entrepreneurs. Mark your calendars for February 24th, 2024. Join us for this Micro Business Summit from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a power-packed event that's going to equip many of the participants with tools and connections to help continue to make sure that their success is going strong. Registration does open at 8:45. If you need more information, there's a QR code right there. Make sure you snap a picture of the slide so you have it at your disposal. I also wanted to make sure that you're aware of the Southern Nevada Senior Law Program's upcoming free estate planning, power of attorney healthcare workshops for Spanish-speaking seniors 60 plus. All of us know of a community member that may be in need to have some of these things. So important to have their estate planning and power of attorney information lined up before it's needed. So these workshops will allow our seniors to meet one-on-one with SLP's bilingual and expert pro bono attorney team to learn more about all of the intricacies that they have to put together as they draft their power of attorney for their health care. So save the date, February 28, 2024 at 1:30 and April 24th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Seniors ages 60 and over will receive expert legal assistance from our knowledgeable pro bono attorney team completely in Spanish. No income qualifications or immigration status questions. Everyone is welcome. So call 702-229-6596 if you have more questions about this event. Also, I know that time is flying so quickly. We're almost at the end of February, and tax day is, I think, Monday, April 15th. So just wanted to make everyone aware that our Mexican consulate partners and the IRS are offering free tax preparation, and so take a picture of that QR code. You can make your appointment, and events will take place on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. from January 26th to April 12th. And so this is tax preparation for W-2 or 1099 NEC forms and income credits for people with valid ITINs or Social Security numbers. And the service is free and in English or Spanish for Nevada residents. So just wanted to put that plug and remind myself that I need to get on top of my own preparation. Today, we do have a free COVID-19 and flu vaccine event through Make the Road Nevada, Immunize Nevada, and Youth Power Project. It's going to be hosted at Freedom Park from 5 to 7 p.m. So if you are due for your COVID booster or your flu vaccines, come on down and also enjoy a yummy carne asada, so a barbecue, Mexican style. And these vaccines will be available completely free for youth and their entire families. Just want to remind everybody about See, Click, Fix. So if you're seeing something, report it to us so we can get it in our queue and remedied ASAP for you. And just stay in touch with me, everyone, at Olivia Diaz LV through different social media channels. You can always call our office, 702-229-2359, or drop us a line, ward3@lasvegasnevada.gov.
Thank you. Councilman Greer.
Thank you. Just want to let Councilwoman Diaz know when I was a young man, I worked at the water treatment facility one summer, icing samples and doing titrations.
And that was dirty work because we've implemented a lot of technology, Councilman Greer.
Yeah, that was a summer job.
And I'll tell you, I always admired your folks.
Yeah.
And I know when they made you work.
Yeah, you had to.
They made you do the right thing.
Yeah. There was no sitting around hanging out. You need to go work, young man. Also to piggyback, that tax season is here. As mentioned, VITA free tax form preparation is going to take place at Doolittle Community Center, which is 1950 J Street, and weekly, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. through April the 15th. You need an appointment. For more information, call 702-229-6125 or visit their website, www.nvfreetaxes.org. Renovated Doolittle Active Adult Center is going to open on February the 22nd, which is tomorrow. So join us in ribbon cutting and tour the renovated Doolittle Active Adult Center at 2:30 p.m., which is located once again on J Street. The center closed for renovations last September. Improvements include upgraded restrooms, new heating, air conditioning equipment, LED lighting, painting, flooring, and upgraded finishes. Scheduled programming begins on Monday, February the 26th. For more information, please call 702-229-7529. We're going to host our Ward 5 Principals Roundtable tomorrow at 4 p.m. And keep in mind, our flyer says Friday the 22nd, but it's actually tomorrow at 4 p.m. And we're going to have it at the Ernest and Betty Becker Technology Center, which is at 221 Maverick Street. First time having it there. This event allows us to learn how we as a city can support our principals and educators. We're looking forward to hosting this event to showcase the amazing state-of-the-art facility, which is filled with hands-on technology, tools, and classes for the entire family. For more information, contact my office, 702-229-5443. Our CSN African American Heritage Committee will host a Black History Jazz Brunch featuring live jazz in celebration of Black History Month tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the June Whitley Student Union. For more information, please contact csn.edu. And also, CSN is also going to be having a workshop, creating a workshop in going culture for African American students to CSN. Join us for an important symposium on recruiting and retention of African American students to CSN. There's going to be a reception. I know that I don't have a slide for this. A reception on Friday, March the 1st from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and then followed by community discussion Saturday, March the 2nd from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Congressman Horsford in the Southern Nevada Health District are going to host a passport fair on Friday, February 23rd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Southern Nevada Health District located at 280 South Decatur Boulevard. Assistance will be provided to guide families through the passport application. There's a list of required documents. For information, call 702-963-9360. And then our next community conversations will take place at the Ernest and Becker Technology Center again on Wednesday, February the 28th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. Residents and businesses are welcome to join us for the conversation. For more information, contact my office, 702-229-5443. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, Ward 5 newsletter, and then also always catch us on social media at Cedric Creer on Twitter, Councilman Creer on Instagram, and Councilman Cedric Creer on Facebook. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Knudsen, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and again, thanks to the council and the staff for indulging in my rambling this morning. Please join us for our next shredding event where you can dispose any expired medications and shred any documents via drive-through. We have volunteers to help, and this is this Saturday from 10 to 12 at Wasden Elementary School, which is located at 2831 Palomino Lane. And it is International Mother Language Day. And so when I saw this, I wanted to talk about Andrew, my 8-year-old at karate class. Their motto is, we use words to build people up, we never use words to bring people down. So I have to repeat that to myself multiple times a day. It's very helpful. And you can reach out to me any way you like, and there you go. Thanks a lot, Mayor.
Lovely. Wow, he's enlightening, actually, is what he is. And congratulations to Xavier. I think it's wonderful. And today, Big 13, well, congratulations if you ever watch your mom up here on the dais. Special happy birthday, and don't make her get down and pray. Just take care of your mom and your dad and your family. But anyway, thank you all very much. I thank our staff, technology, of course, our planning, and Mr. Jansen, just wonderful that you're on top of it all, and I know that everything you're going to be bringing us as we review and how to make the city better and stronger is what we do. Our city clerk, both, and your team, all here, and most of all, our safety, our marshals, fire, and first responders forever, and thank you. If that's still you, David Lopez back there, you stayed through it all. Wonderful. And it's a, pardon? Gomez. And, what can I tell you? Age does things to one's brain sometimes. But anyway, thank you all, and know that our next city council meeting is Wednesday, March 3rd. We survived the Super Bowl, and apparently that was a great undertaking all the way around, and certainly for our law enforcement to keep all those visitors. Our marshals participated all the way around, and thank you very much, and thank you for taking care of us all. So until then, be safe, be careful, watch out for the crazy drivers on the road, and we'll see you before the 6th, I'm sure. Thank you. Thank you. And we are adjourned.